I will make the argument that Dark Knight Rises is an attempt at doing the world is not enough. Craig Bond even feels like a response to Nolan. This can come up again in the competition later because is a thing I also strongly feel. I do feel like Nolan's Batman is a better adaptation of James Bond than it is of the Batman character, and I will make in some regards, and not I cannot feel, of course, he's not with MI6, he's not British, he doesn't have like his iconic weapon, his martinis, but there are elements.
Alfred.
What? What's up? Oh, here's Alfred. Exactly.
That's Alfred. Yeah, he's British.
There you go. But I do feel like the Batman character Nolan created is more akin to James Bond than the comics version, and I'll make that argument. I also have to thank you for those charts you put in the chat. I'm going to bring them up in a bit when it's relevant. If you need me to reference those charts, I can bring them up on screen whenever. Okay.
Oh, me and Comic Legend were just talking about whether or not Long Halloween was ever canon.
Oh, is it canon? Is it canon?
As far as I know, nothing has ever actually confirmed it's canon. Like Harvey's origin is closer to Eye of the Beholder. Even New 52 flat out confirms that Long Halloween isn't canon. So unless somebody has a reference for that.
Well, definitely not in New 52 because remember Batman Eternal, Falcone's still alive?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't remember that. That's a long-ass book.
Yeah,
it was the first arc, I believe.
Well, 52 changed everything, so it's kind of hard to compare, post-crisis to New 52 continuity. But that being said, though, okay, so I think we can just jump right in. SK, is your stream good, or
mine we're good. We're good to go.
Good.
Yeah.
Can you introduce myself to your stream?
Yeah, go ahead. I just got started.
Cool. So that's all good. So to SK's stream, because we're streaming to two different audiences at the same time. My name is Anthony Gramuglia. I do video essays and reaction content and discussions online. I talk a lot about different movies, different books, different all kinds of things. Usually all at the same time. I know a lot. I know a little bit about a lot. So hopefully we can. I won't expose any of my gaps in my knowledge today in this debate, but hopefully it all works out. So I think I'm gonna let a few super chats on my end play real quick, if that's all good. Just to let them clear up before we get into the big intro topics, I think.
Yep.
All right, so if you play real quick. Yes, that is true. They all expose how delusional he is. Yes, I have seen that. I'll let them answer that in a second.
Are these super chats?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
You want us to stay quiet while you read these out?
Let me actually stream my screen so you can hear what they're saying. That way it's not as that way it's not as one-sided, so you're good. Here we go. I'm just gonna let this play out real quick. If you want to listen, you can just I think you just have the audio playing on my end for that one. So the two questions are, I'm gonna pause supers right now. So the first question is, did we see the animated Batman movie connected to the Nolan trilogy? That being the collection of anime shorts that were made. I think it was Gotham Knights, like that. Yeah, Gotham Knight. Yeah. I saw it once, maybe twice. I don't have a very strong memory of it. I remember liking the Deadshot one. I like the intro, basically all the interpretations of the Dark Knight. I like that, but it's not like a super. It's not like an essential Batman animated movie to watch, I don't think.
I think it's one of the better ones, honestly. I remember really liking it.
I didn't love it. I don't know, maybe I was the wrong age when I first saw it. It's been a while. For me, the one animated Batman film I rewatched the most is probably Red Hood, I would say. I think that's the one I probably come back to the most. Although Mask of the Phantasm obviously is great, but I feel it's a different conversation. Also really good was I kind of did the first Damian Wayne one they did when they relaunched the whole DC animated universe. I like that one a bit, but I don't typically love the post Justice League War films as much as the previous ones, I don't think. I didn't like their Hush at all. I thought that was a pretty underwhelming adaptation of it.
Oh, I think well, for Gotham Knight, I think it's like I would say it's the best Nolan like Dark Knight universe, like of that universe. I think it's the best material out of it. Ironically, it was originally supposed to be canon because they tried to get Christian Bale to voice Batman, but then they just got Kevin. Which honestly, I think it was better off. I think my favorite out of the bunch of those shorts was goes to like some European country to try to be a doctor like his dad did because he's just lost on what he wants to do, and he learns like pain tolerance. I will say, Batman versus Robin is peak, and I think SK and Comic Legend can confirm on that one.
Love that movie. I think that's one of the best ones.
I like that one. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. But I feel like as it went on that timeline, it just kind of, I don't know. When we got to Apocalypse War, I just was done. I was checked out by that point, I think.
Oh yeah, everybody was.
We're good here.
Someone in chat just said, "Oh yeah, it's the guy with the books."
Yes. That's basically sums up my channel.
Guy with the books.
I'm the guy with all these books behind me. It is obnoxious, but hey, what are you gonna do? And the other question was, I think is a good. I think we're all gonna have a very similar answer to this one. What is your favorite Batman video game? I think we all have generally the same answer to this.
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight.
I was in Arkham City. Knight's up there too. I was going to say Arkham City.
City's but right behind that for me.
It's close. It's in that series of games.
Yeah, we are violent defenders of Arkham Knight.
Clearly, you all want to play Justice League kills Suicide Squad kills the Justice League or whatever. I know it's your favorite one. What was the Batman and Robin PS1 game too? That was God.
Oh yeah.
So let's just dive into the topic here. Obviously, I was
real quick, if you can turn off
quick.
the Discord stream if we're getting in the topic, because it kind of messes with the format that I have, because it changes the icons.
Absolutely. Let me just get rid of that real quick.
All right, thank you.
Stop streaming. Cool. No problem. All right. You can, obviously, go. SK, you can introduce your perspective. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start just introducing a general perspective on how we all feel about it, and then dive into either individual points about the films or collective thoughts about the trilogy or individual films. Wherever we go, I don't think we need a very tight structure to this.
Yeah, for sure. So I think as far as the Nolan trilogy, looking at them as films, I think Batman Begins and The Dark Knight are some of the best comic book films that have ever been made. I think they're very good. Not absolutely flawless, but I think they're high tier as superhero movies go. The Dark Knight Rises, I rewatched it last night with Comic Legend and Batnik. I think The Dark Knight Rises is a disappointingly bad movie. It's very... in a lot of areas, poorly written. I think Bane is completely wasted. Talia has a really bad motivation. Something that really annoyed us is that Ra's al Ghul, the way that they've retconned him has retroactively ruined him in Batman Begins. And I've touched upon this before my stream hit live, but I think in Dark Knight Rises, just from the opening part of it, where they go 8 years later, the Dent Act, whatever, all it really says about how it gets rid of crime is that they gave the law enforcement teeth in its fight against the mob, which doesn't really address the many issues that result in crime in the city. Even Batman Begins addressed it. So, and I know it's been memed on because there's been so many false positives, but I think this is legitimately a case of propaganda in media. I think The Dark Knight Rises is very much guilty of propaganda, whether it was intentional or not, because they basically say the solution to crime is just to give law enforcement more teeth, whatever that means. That's just impractical, that's illogical in the world building, and I think that just sends a bad message because of how impractical that is.
Agreed. And I think also in addition to that, considering how Batman Begins focused on how corrupt the cops are, it begs the question, where's the value in giving the cops even more power than they had previously, especially when they were clearly corrupted before? It's like, it's almost inviting, you would think a story like that would almost explore how crime can use the police to get ahead of things if the cops were given more power. Like, it almost seems inviting the ideas of fighting a police state, but it just never addresses that obvious issue with the world building. And I have other issues with Dark Knight Rises too. Like, I'm not sure how into investments you are, but if someone were like stealing like all of a person's like financial records and investments and all of that, there would be systems in place outside of the physical location to stop transfers from happening, you know, especially with that much money. So even like the small details of The Dark Knight Rises, I think from a plot standpoint, just don't hold up. I think it's fair to say that The Dark Knight Rises, being the weakest point in the trilogy, there were still good points of it, I feel, but like because of its shortcomings, it does bring down the trilogy as a collective whole, because it has ramifications for what came before. And some of it's unavoidable. You can't really control Heath Ledger's passing. But to not mention the Joker whatsoever, it does feel kind of like they just sort of put this guy away and then never thought of him ever again. Like the biggest ramification of The Dark Knight is Harvey Dent. It's not the Joker. I mean, Harvey Dent Nate is crafted into what he is by the Joker, sure, but like it does kind of rob some of that previous movie of its thematic weight, I think. Absolutely. To never acknowledge it. Yeah, and unavoidable. Like, you really can't work around, you know, Heath Ledger's passing. That's tragic. It's unavoidable, but like, it just kind of sucks. You know, it's unfortunate that had to happen that way. But also, I would guess it'd be more disrespectful if they just brought in a guy to replace Heath Ledger, like in a wig, and just go, "Oh, it's Heath Ledger. He's here the whole time," or you know, some bullshit. That'll be worse, I imagine.
We talked about this. I think it was before the watch, but it might actually be interesting if because obviously they can't bring back Heath Ledger, but they could potentially imply that he still exists in this world. And you can maybe have it so that Bane is like, he's by Blackgate Prison, he walks past the Joker, and then he looks at his men and he's just like, no, not him. That's
what I thought they were gonna do, or like they're gonna have like some like unused like recording of his laugh from behind a cell or something like that. Like something like that would have been like easy, and you wouldn't have had to like do anything disrespectful, and it would have still shown, oh, he's still here. He's just, even they don't want to deal with him.
I think it would make complete sense if like all the people that were being released were just like, no, not the Joker, not the Joker.
And even then, they also kind of, this is another small thing, like Arkham Asylum is such a big deal in the Batman mythos, and it really only exists in Batman Begins. Like, yes, I know it's Crane's asylum, and yes, it is a front for his insidious plans, but I feel like to completely ignore Arkham after the first film and have it never be mentioned ever again, not even like as like even when you're referencing all the stuff from Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, to never mention Arkham at any point. Like, yeah, we're mostly dealing with like criminals in these films. There's not too many like genuinely like nutty characters like Joker or like Mr. Freeze. I mean, like Mr. Freeze goes to Arkham, I guess. So it just felt like they were missing something. Like, it felt like a lot of the key components that we associate with Batman after Batman Begins kind of get dropped a bit. And that's one thing that always kind of bothers me a little bit about these movies. And why I think personally that Batman Begins is the best adaptation of Batman in this trilogy. And I think maybe Dark Knight Rises. Maybe The Dark Knight might be the better film, but Batman Begins to me is the better Batman film of this trilogy, I think.
I can understand that, yeah.
I agree.
I think yeah, go on.
I agree with that 100%. I think the only thing I would mention about the Arkham Asylum point is with the Dark Knight, I do feel like it is a very specific kind of movie they're trying to make. It's a a crime drama, kind of like that's like the idea of what the movie is trying to go by. So I don't really think there was any time in the movie they could have like naturally like brought up Arkham Asylum.
And that's fair too. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, these are choices born from the type of movie they decided to make. You know, it's like, if you were to change things, you'd have to fundamentally alter what the movie is. And at that certain point, you kind of go beyond film criticism and just go into fan fiction territory. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, if the movie was like this version I imagined in my brain, I rewrote it, it would be different. But like, yeah, that's fair too. And I think with discussions of how effective it is as an adaptation, you kind of have to avoid that. I'm almost saying it to myself mostly because I feel like I'm going to veer into like, yeah, but if the movie was written totally differently, this would be good to put in there. So I have to remind myself not to say it either. So
I think like when it comes to talking about adaptations like this, like with comic book characters, especially with how many years it's been with a lot of them, they have such massive worlds that it is ultimately unrealistic to add like literally everything. And like, you know, I know like Arkham Asylum is more important than like, I don't know, Nana Parbat or something like that, right? But I do think like when it comes down to like what kind of story you're writing based on whatever adaptation, I do think it's more healthy for the writer to focus on what is you know, the main point of what they're trying to tell, which is why I'm fine with it in The Dark Knight, because it's more so about, you know, dealing with the rest of the mob. It's more of a crime drama, and Joker's there for like to add like a spin to the story. He's a wild card to make it like stand out from other kind of like crime dramas, and I think like that's a very smart use for you know, these kind of characters. Because I do think the philosophy for making superhero movies should always be, you should make a movie first and then see how a superhero kind of character can make that movie more interesting. Like, I think Logan's a good example, right? Like, Logan is kind of just a Western, but the reason Logan stands out from other Westerns is because, you know, what if Wolverine was the main character in a Western?
Agreed. And also with the Wolverine as well, it's what if Wolverine's in a samurai or a Japanese crime film kind of thing. So I agree with you on that one. And that's why I want to talk about these as adaptations, but also as films, because I feel like the conversation that we have around these films, because of the nature of what they're based on, a character who's been around for like 80 something years, there is a temptation to always default to saying this is the best Batman movie, as opposed to it being a great movie. Because I think like with The Dark Knight, and I've said this before to US Kid in the past, I think that these films are all, with the exception of The Dark Knight Rises, pretty good movies. I don't know if they're good adaptations of Batman, but I think it's important to note, before we say anything else, these are really good movies. My issues, there are a few issues I have with internal logic that do hold elements of it back for me, but also my complaints are as a Batman fan for the continuity, for the adaptation qualities of it. Because I do feel, and I've been jumping around this point a little bit, there are elements of Batman's character that I just don't think are adapted all that terrifically in these films. And I think we should get the biggest, most widely talked about criticism out of the way first, because I feel like that's going to be a big one that we're going to be dancing around if we don't.
Sure.
That being the no-kill rule.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's such a big topic, and I think if we get past that, we can kind of analyze the more complicated topics as well. Because I have an issue with the no-kill rule, both as an adaptation of Batman's no-kill rule, but also its internal logic in the story. I feel like Batman, especially, and this is also informed by The Dark Knight Rises, where he gives Catwoman such a big deal about ever killing anyone or using any guns or anything like that. You know, it's like, you can't use any guns, no killing, you know, this, that, and the other. Whereas before he says, I'm not an executioner, you know, these criminals should be tried through the legal process, not through, you know, the hands of a vigilante. And you can make the argument for certain cases in the films where it's unavoidable. I mean, obviously the comic Batman, for the most part, again, depending on the writer, it's always a caveat in these discussions, because, you know, there's like KG Beast who like he locks into a sewer, and then like another writer goes, no, wait, he's fine. You let him go after leaving him in the dark for like a week or whatever. You know, there's always that kind of exception. But for the most part, Batman avoids killing, even incidentally. I think he has one of the strictest no-kill rules of any superhero. I would say probably.
Sorry, real quick. No, so I think the big thing in terms of adaptation, looking at the no-kill rule specifically, well, I guess you could say across the whole trilogy, I think this Batman's a good adaptation of Jim Starlin Batman. So like you brought up the KG Beast example, right? That was originally supposed to be canon, and then Marv Wolfman rewrote it in year 3. And then looking at other examples, I think it's issue 401 Batman's like hunting the serial killer, and Jason Todd is like, "Why don't we just kill this guy?" And Bruce is like, I'm not like, we don't do that. Like, we're better than that." And Jason's like, "Wait, but you've killed before." And then Bruce explicitly says, "Yes, I have, but only in self-defense," which I feel like can inform some of the like decisions made for his no kill rule in the trilogy. And then in another example, Batman the Cult, which is like one of the greatest stories ever made, greatest Batman books ever made. So in two instances in the books, have you read it, Anthony, or no?
A while ago.
Okay.
A very long time ago. So refresh my memory.
Well, so
it's been
spoilers for
ages.
the Cult, like it came out in like the 80s. In my opinion, it's the better Dark Knight Returns. So Deacon Blackfire kidnapped Batman. He's like this huge cult leader, building up this cult. He's the guy from Arkham Knight. And basically, like, he kidnaps and brainwashes Batman, and he brainwashes Batman so badly and destroys him mentally so badly, he actually does kill somebody, which I'm not using as an example. I'm just using it to like build the premise of the story. And most of the story is and this is canon, by the way. It's referenced in Death in the Family. The whole story is Batman trying to mentally fight against the brainwashing. And in the final confrontation, like, Gotham is in complete ruins. Deacon Blackfire's cult has like decimated, like, just fucked with Gotham so badly. Batman pulls out like this giant Frank Miller-esque like tank, and they emphasize in the book that like, oh, he's using like non-lethal like darts to, like, him and Robin are using like non-lethal darts to incapacitate people. But two things, Bruce destroys like a building with Deacon Blackfire's men on it. Like, he like shoots the foundation and it just crumbles. So it's like way less of a chance that those guys are alive. And two, and in one of the panels, you can literally see this giant Frank Miller Batmobile like run over a dude, and you can see like his head like in the wheel. It's kind of goofy. I'll send a panel of it here in a second.
Yeah, please, I'm gonna put it on screen so everyone can see in chat.
Another thing, the end of the story. So keep in mind, Batman is completely burnt out. He's broken from the inside out. Physically, he's just like, he's destroyed. So Deacon Blackfire's cult realizes that like they're just I think it's what it is they realize that they're just being used. So like this cult and like a bunch of Gothamites, they swarm Deacon Blackfire and they basically like rip him to death and like kill him. And Batman's like, I could try to save him, but like, I get myself killed doing it. So he lets Deacon Blackfire die. And I just want to jump to one more example before I stop talking. Batman and the Outsiders, I think #1. I think it's by Marv Wolfman. Geoforce, I think Terra's brother, like Terra from like Teen Titans. He like throws. It's basically a moment from like the Superman 2025 where Hawk Girl kills the Baravian guy, or not the president, Gurkos or whatever.
Gurkos, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Geoforce kills the president of I forget the state the country is from, but it doesn't matter. Markovia. I think he kills like this dictator in Markovia, and Batman's like, I like your sense of style. Like, he's advocating for the fact that like Geoforce just killed a dictator. So yeah, I think Dennis O'Neil really like as he like came into editorial and like refined what he believed to be his like conception of Batman, and like, we get like the famous Batman Bible that like explains his no kill rule. Like, we saw examples of like moments where like, he's using guys as body shield, like as shields from gunfire, which he also does post-crisis. So that's why I think like, at least like for all three films, like Nolan Batman is more of a Jim Starlin, like right before post-crisis Batman. Yeah, let me find those panels. I'll stop talking.
No, that's a good point too. Because I think that's one of the reasons why I don't mind when the Tim Burton Batman kills, because I feel like the rules weren't as hammered into audiences at that point that Batman never kills. I mean, of course, he was trying to enforce no kill rule, but not as strictly as he does in later comics. I always think back to what was it, Batman Cacophony? I think it is the Kevin Smith story, where like Joker has like a big Bowie knife stuck in his chest, and Batman's like, we gotta save him. We can fix this. But
yeah,
but it's like,
sorry.
no, you can keep going, please.
Well, I just want to say, I think it's really interesting. Like once they develop, like the no kill rule, like even in Nightfall, like Tim Drake is trained very clearly, and he tells he tells Azrael this because Azrael's getting trained. Like we do not kill. That is something we never ever do. Batman never kills. But it's like, okay, what about all these other examples? And then we get to the early 2000s, right before Batman Hush, we get Batman Fugitive. A big point that Dick Grayson makes to defend Batman getting framed for murder is he tells Tim, Batman never kills. Like he has never killed. He's never taken a life. Nothing. There's no like nuance to it whatsoever. And Tim's like, that we know of. And I don't know. It's just like, and now in present day, he has literally like the current continuity. He has never taken a life, like ever. Like they're not even like a kill in self-defense. So the no kill rule is just like Batman is like the absolute extreme, where even like self-defense is just not even something that's like factored into like the mythos.
And I think it's also important to remember as well, because I think we're so caught in the weeds of modern continuity that we've forgotten the big obvious example. In the Golden Age, he would take out guns. He was basically a noir hero who would go around and he would kill. It was like with Superman. They all killed back in the Golden Age, and those rules solidified over time to doesn't kill, never kills, cannot kill. Like gradually, piece by piece by piece. I think the big issue I have is that by the time the Nolan films did come out, that rule had been so solidified in the comics. And so even though, obviously Jim Sterling, or before that, there were different examples, of course, I feel like by the time the films came out, they emerged in a continuity where Batman didn't just not kill, but he was like, it was the one rule, it was the one line he couldn't cross. And I think because it was so hammered into the comics, it became more apparent that divide in the films at the time, I feel like. And I feel like as time goes on, that rule's only become stronger, and thus as a result, it's become more apparent of a divide in the logic. And I think using the logic of the films, he doesn't want to kill because he feels he doesn't have the right to execute criminals. So that already is different than his motivation not to kill in the comics. On
motivation
level. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but what motivation do you believe he has in the comics? Like, which one are you going with? Because they explain it in so many different ways because the writers.
That's true. I think for me, the one I always fall back to is the explanation in Under the Red Hood. That like if he ever gave in to his not desire to kill characters, but like the ease of killing a criminal, it might become easy for him. I think he fears becoming as bad as the criminals around him. But also I think he doesn't want to kill because he kind of sees the chance of redemption in a lot of his criminals. There's a lot of occasions in the comics where he does want to push to redeem and help and fix his villains. And I feel like there is an undercurrent throughout the comics, throughout the character's history, where he feels he sees himself and his villains to an extent. I don't always feel like this is always textual, but I think it is always a subtextual element of Batman, where he does have some degree of empathy for those he fights, to an extent. So I think it's a combination of not wanting to take a life because he'll become just as bad as those he fights, but also feeling there's always a chance he can bring them back from whatever depth they've fallen into, to some extent.
So I'm gonna ask you: are you aware of Denny O'Neil's explanation he wrote for Batman?
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it for sure. But we're going to explain it to the audience.
So, essentially, what Denny O'Neil's version of his explanation is essentially that like he wants to uphold justice, and he believes in the ideals of what is like justice to him. And also, very simply, he doesn't want to kill Joker because it would give him the satisfaction. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that I got that correct.
It's for so it's two different things. So first, in Legends of the Dark Knight Annual 1, he blatantly tells Joker that, and this is post Death in the Family, by the way, so he's killed Jason Todd. He tells him that he holds human life to be like the most sacred thing ever. To the highest degree. And then in the Batman Bible, Dennis, so I have it pulled up right now, real quick. The quote is,
Oh, perfect.
He never kills. Let's repeat that for the folks in the balcony. Batman never kills. The trauma which created his obsession also generated in him a reverence for that most basic of values, the sacredness of human life. If he was not consumed with the elimination of crime, he would not be Batman. And if he did not consider human life inviolable, he would not be the Batman either. So, I think you're definitely right with he believes that like his villains can be redeemed, because in Chip Zdarsky's run and I Am the Gun, like at least in year 1 or sorry, excuse me, year 3, he sees Joker as like some like an innocent, like there's an innocent man trapped inside like this monster, and he believes it's his duty to save him. And he gets that trait from his both his parents, but mainly his mom.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like we're all on the same page with that. You know, the sanctity of life, the belief that he can't, if he ever crosses that line, to make him as bad as his villains, and the hope that he can bring them back from the brink. You know, and there is the warmth, and there is that element of it. I think anchors Batman, no matter how frightening he may be as a character, to that degree of empathy, to that degree of humanity. But again, I think in The Dark Knight, they just translate that to being he believes in the justice system, which I always kind of saw as a little bit too much of an externalization of a justification for his actions. I feel like the other explanation is more of an internalized conflict, an internalized focus, whereas in the film, it's very much the external. It's the systems of power at play. And like, I just don't find it as compelling, you know, as like a person who genuinely believes in the sanctity of life, who genuinely believes that he cannot cross that line. And I think, and that's like more of a personal preference, sure, but I do feel it undermines moments of the Dark Knight trilogy. I think it cheapens some of the sequences. And to go into specifics of the films, one of the first examples of it is that scene where he introduces his no-kill policy to the League of Shadows, when he's asked to kill this criminal, and he says, "No, I will not execute him. He should be tried by juries of his peers, and they can decide his fate." But then the problem is, okay, but buddy, I'm going to put you in timeout again. I'm seeing you spamming there. This time going to be a little longer of a timeout. I don't want to like ban you forever, but you got a half hour there. I'm sorry, buddy. I do not believe you replaced that skimpy toilet there. Like, it's just spam. Like, I don't like putting people in timeout, but that is just spam. I'm usually very permissive with my chat. It's just spamming it there. Anyway, but yeah, and then he goes and like kills them all except for like Ra's al Ghul. He blows the whole thing up. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up again. So you did bring up this the image right here. I'm gonna bring it up right here. They are, of course, comics. We just dropped buildings on his enemies. That's in the comics in Batman Cult right here. But I unfortunately don't know if I can maybe turn off reactive for a second so you guys can see it more clearly. Like, he does just blow buildings.
I do want to correct myself on him running people over with the Batmobile. He explains the tires are as you could see, like him running people over. He does explain that he's using like balloon tech, like excuse me, heavy duty suspension and puncture-proof balloon tires allows us to plow right under the top of the Underworlders fortification. So I was wrong about the running over thing, but like here he does like legit send a building down with Deacon Blackfire's bed on it.
Yeah, only like comic book logic can have balloon tech tires.
Wow.
All right, district guy, you're also getting timeout. I'm sorry. Don't spam. I'm not trying to be cool about this, but you're just being annoying. You're not really doing anything. Anyway,
so yeah, for those just watching, I'm showing the first panel that Batnick dropped. I'm gonna show the second one as well.
Yeah, these are good. Again, it's important to reference the comics. You know, we all have certain issues we remember more distinctly than others. It's vital. Oh yeah, let me get this open up too. Right, here's a good one. Yeah, here's the balloon tech. Here's the balloon tech tires. I freaking love this.
I do think because SK's talked about it a lot. Like, I don't know if you've seen his video where he like defends Batman's no kill rule in Batman Begins. I feel like his I feel like I align pretty much with his perspective on like what it means for him to do the saving the guy they're trying to execute in the monastery, and him like leaving Raish on the train. Hey, I don't know if you want to bring that up.
Yeah. So SK, do you want to repeat that verbally, or should I just play your clip? Would you prefer saying it?
I could just say it right now. But in essence, basically, I think there will be times where Batman will be backed into a corner and he'll have to make a choice, one that's not ideal for his morality or his ideals. But eventually, you can put him in a circumstance where Batman will be forced to make those decisions, and I think the Nolan trilogy, for the most part, did a good job forming those circumstances where he doesn't really have that much of a choice. I think with the monastery, with all the ninjas, I think his mindset here is they're not going to let me go, so they're not just going to let me peacefully leave out. He's going to have to fight his way out no matter what. And the best, most effective way he sees his way out of it is essentially create a big distraction, make the environment unsafe for them to stay in so they have incentive to leave, and make sure it's not like something immediate that completely destroys their ability to survive. Like, at least give them the chance to save themselves. And for the most part, the ninjas seem to, some of them get left behind, but for the most part, it seems like they're able to get out of the monastery. And as for the criminal, he pushes him away, so it seems like the criminal had a chance to escape the situation as well. So I think that's just one of those moments where, would Bruce ideally do this if he had a choice? No, he wouldn't, but I think the fact that he lacked a choice in the situation is what resulted in the outcome. And I think the same is applicable to the train where he leaves Ra's al Ghul in there. People often point to him saying that, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. But I think there's a bit of a double meaning there. It's not just a matter of he doesn't have to, like, physically save him, but also ideologically. And because Raz refuses to save himself, he refuses to change, and he would rather die with his mission, there's no way Batman could realistically save Ra's al Ghul. Because if he were to try grabbing him, this would, start another fight. He would prolong it as much as possible. Even if he did grab him and try to use his grapple hook to get away, he needs the cooperation of someone, the person that he's saving, in order for that to work. And Ra's al Ghul would in no way cooperate if he would rather die than let Batman win. So I think, like, those are well-constructed situations where, sure, Batman doesn't want to kill, but there might be instances where he has to give a compromise because of the situation. I can understand, like, it not being as satisfactory to people that see it, because they might want to see more of a, I guess, hopeful outcome where Batman is able to make the choice to save them. Like, I can understand that on a personal level, wanting to see more of that. But I think, like, defending it from the perspective of what Nolan's trying to do with his version of Batman, I think it holds enough. It's the same thing as the Two-Face death, as to how that happened. He had to make a choice between Two-Face versus the kid that he was grabbing on the way down. So it really comes down to having to make difficult choices in the heat of the moment.
And I'd also like to add...
You go for it first. I'll wait. It's all good.
All right. It'll be quick. I also like to add that, like, some of this stuff does track in the comics as well, because I know there's a good example in Tom King's Batman, funnily enough, where he goes out and he fights KG Beast, and he was in a life or death situation, so he had to, like, shoot his, like, grapple hook right at his head, and it basically, like, almost, I'm pretty sure, like,
it broke his neck.
Yeah, it broke his neck,
but he was still alive.
It's extremely painful.
Yeah, so it's like they're like it was lucky that he didn't die, but Batman did just kind of, chance someone's life there as well. I think it's just dependent on the context.
So I partially agree with what you said, SK. And I'll start with what I agree with you on first before I go to the disagreements. I do agree about the monastery. But I think there's also the angle, too, that you didn't mention. This is Batman pre-Batman. Like, he's just come to the beginnings of his philosophies. He's going to... It's not going to be fully solidified yet. You know what I mean? Like, Batman Begins is the story of how Bruce becomes Batman. He's not Batman yet. So I feel like on that level, too, there's a level of permissibility, But on the other hand, I don't agree with you necessarily on either Ra's al Ghul or Two-Face. I mean, with Ra's al Ghul in the movie, I keep saying Rage because I default.
Yeah, I keep getting them confused.
It's like it's not Rage.
Rage sounds better.
Rage sounds much better. I agree, but he's also not Rage because there's no Lazarus Pit. So there you go. And he's white as white bread, so that also adds up. But you know, like the element with Ra's, it's like I think my bigger issue, you know, in theory, what you're saying isn't wrong. He is set in his ways. He would fight back if Batman tried saving him. But a part of me almost feels like I kind of wish he tried. You know, I feel like that would have been more interesting to see him wrestle with his ethos. Because again, he declared his ethos originally to Ra's to his face, basically. You know, it was part of his final test of character. So I almost feel like on some level, he is proving Ra's right by not saving him. You know, it kind of, because the movie creates this intellectual discussion of what do you need to do to stop crime on a real level. You know, and with Batman, it's like, well, you can see, you know, Bruce's family try creating institutional change to bring infrastructure that benefits the poor with the railway system, you know, all that. You can restructure the cops, you can restructure all these elements of justice to bring good to people or use your resources for positive stuff. And I feel almost the conversation of the film ends with Ra's kind of being right in that even though obviously Batman stops the whole plan to destroy Gotham, that's obviously bad. But he proves to Ra's he will do what it needs to do what's necessary to execute criminals as he sees fit by not saving him. And I feel like that does undercut to some degree the message of the film thus far, or at least the message that Batman has been communicating all this time. And you could make the argument, well, he knew that he wouldn't put himself in danger unnecessarily. But I'm like, the fact that he doesn't try is my bigger issue, you know? The end result can still be the same. It could still end with Ra's on the train plummeting down. But I feel like there should be an attempt. And I feel that bothers me more than anything else. The movie is a good finale to an action scene, but it feels like it does defeat some of the ethos Batman is setting up the whole time. And again, this is now Batman fully formed at the end. He's all the elements, all the lessons he's learned up until now. This is Batman in its final form, essentially. And in his final form is the first test he has to test this no-kill ethos, and he lets him die. So for me, that undercuts the messaging of the film a lot. Even though logically he wouldn't be able to save him. Everything you said is correct in that sense. I just feel like there should have been an attempt to try. Sorry. Okay, cut you off there. Go for it. Sorry.
Oh no. Do you want it? You can finish your point if you want.
I was going to go into Two-Face next. So if you have a point about Ra's, now's the time to say it.
Yeah, we'll go on Ra's right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do Ra's right now.
So I get what you're saying, but I do think it's a little more nuanced than that. Because yeah, I do. You know, there's the whole no-kill element, but I think the reasons behind it is what's more important. Ra's al Ghul's reasons behind killing the criminals is based on eradication because of a very nihilistic viewpoint that like people are beyond saving once civilization like grows, high enough. Mm-hmm. And what Batman is trying to prove to Ra's mainly is that Gotham isn't beyond saving, more so than like if you should kill or not kill criminals. And I think like this is supported by the fact that obviously Batman does work with people like Gordon and the police, and these people are willing to kill if they're pushed to do so, even if he wouldn't do it. So I think like Ra's ideology is a little bit more deeper than just killing criminals. I think it's more so about why he does it. It's the reason behind it, which is what Batman combats. And in the end of the movie, like he does prove Ra's wrong because Gotham does eventually become a better place. And I think the dramatic irony is Gotham is as bad as it is because of Ra's al Ghul. He manipulated it to become worse. Joe Chill is because of his, machinations messing up the, economics and stuff like that. And once his grip was off of Gotham, the League of Shadows is gone, and Batman was able to do what he thinks is better for the city. which is like real change that isn't just nihilism and eradicating societies once they become too toxic. You see that the city does eventually grow and change and get better over the films. Because I remember this in your video that you bring up the Narrows isn't brought up as much after Begins. I do think thematically the reason why that could be is to show like the ideology of Ra's al Ghul slowly, ebbing away. The Narrows isn't as prevalent because in the world itself it's getting less and less bad because we don't have the economic problem that Ra's was causing. We weren't trying to eradicate the city. We were trying to actually save it with Bruce. Sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I hear you. To that point too, bring up the Narrows specifically, because again, just to remind anyone who's forgotten, they say at the beginning they tried to destroy Gotham's economy first, and then Bruce's parents basically got in the way of that by trying to improve infrastructure. I do feel like the lack of focus on the Narrows, even though we can assume it gets better, I'm always of that school of thought where, like, if they don't see it through the narrative of plot, we can only assume so much,
Yeah.
And that's the issue with the whole discussion. We don't see it enough. We can make assumptions, certainly, and there's implication it's better. Gotham as a whole looks so much shinier in The Dark Knight, in Dark Knight Rises. But
I definitely
we never really go back to that part of Gotham City to a thorough as thorough an extent as we do elsewhere. And I think that does undercut a lot of the messaging, a lot of the potential messaging of that whole element. Because Batman does improve Gotham through infrastructure, the same way his parents tried doing when they were alive. And the League of Shadows is no longer influencing Gotham through the economic systems. But at that same time, a lot of this is demonstrated through the viewpoint of politicians and cops. We don't see too much of it, or lawyers. We don't see enough of how Gotham changes across the trilogy from the average perspective or even worse, the lower class perspective until The Dark Knight Rises.
Which it does a poor job at.
Yeah.
It does a poor job
I think, just real quick to expand upon what you're saying, I think a way that they could have worked around this issue with the Narrows is by basically taking advantage of when they have the montage at the beginning where it shows the bat signal and it shows the people reacting to the bat signal, giving unique perspectives throughout the city. I think that would have been a good opportunity to maybe show the Narrows itself and show that...
They could have showed Scarecrow in the Narrows instead of where they were in the first fight scene. That could have been
done that. I also think you could have had some civilians in the Narrows just like looking at the bat signal and just, kind of being inspired by it because they know that Batman is making it a better place. You can also have it so there's, let's say there's signs in the background that show Bruce Wayne's face attached to it and say, like, the Wayne Foundation is helping, you can... It's kind of what they do in the Batman, where they have Bella Real's face, where it has like a movement, a message behind it, and you can basically have it so the Wayne Foundation is helping rebuild the Narrows. Like there's a whole movement that they've pushed for it, and I think that would actually help in the world building if they were to have some kind of set design for that.
100%.
Yeah.
Or even a construction site, like something basic. You don't even need like a big sign, just like a few cranes, a few we see a building get torn down at the beginning, and then we see it rebuilt by the end. Like something like that could go a long way with very little in terms of interrupting the flow of plot, I feel.
Yeah, this was an idea that I talked about last night that I think would have been really cool at some point in the Nolan trilogy. But when Batman says, nice coat to the guy because years ago he gave him his own coat. He's clearly like a homeless guy. Like, imagine if we got to see a scene with him, like, given a home, where Bruce Wayne gives that guy a home. Like, that'd be a really cool payoff to see. I think Batnick said that this is something you would have seen in, like, Batman comics.
100%.
It's funny. My biggest problem with The Dark Knight is the Narrows. I think it's severely, or like for me personally, like as a big Batman fan, like it hurts them completely unincluding it. It does include it though, Gotham Knight. And what's even funnier is that it predates like a prison city with Arkham City, because in the short where they include the Narrows, it's literally Arkham City. Like the island is the prison, is what they say in it. But Oh yeah. Bruce. Me and Comic Legend. Well, me and Comic Legend mainly when we talk about it, we sort of have a disagreement with like how the Bruce's philanthropy is or isn't displayed with throughout the trilogy. I'm like, I think that I 1,000% agree with what you said in your video in that in The Dark Knight, the only time he spends his money on something that's not Batman, it's Harvey Dent's fundraiser that he literally does not need. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, and I think that's fundamental to Batman is him recognizing his position of power and using it to better the lives of the lower class and like the people around him. So no, yeah, Nero should have been in the Dark Knight. And
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like it can go a small way to go a long distance, you know? Like there's small details that I feel this trilogy neglects because I think, and this is an issue I have with The Dark Knight. So I'm going to transition to that whole thing too, to an extent. Batman Begins is so focused on how the economy and the class divide has driven people to crime. You know, it's so focused on desperation, on hunger, on a lack of resources. And that's, I think, where it should be, you know, because criminals aren't criminals because, well, some are criminals because they're violent, yeah, but most criminals is out of desperation, is out of a need for money or resources. And we kind of forget that an average person can turn to crime after Batman Begins, because every criminal from there is either hardened like criminals who like just are gun-toting and want to do violence, or mafioso crime bosses, like organized crime. And we completely forget the Joe Chills, we completely forget the just the bog standard like muggers who are just desperate and hungry. And it's kind of disappears from the narrative. I feel like the Batman does a great job showing just how normal people can be criminals and not be part of a crime family, just like wandering gangs, like storefront robbers, without going into detail about it. But The Dark Knight, it forgets all that. It's all big crime deals, big criminals, and we lose track of the humanity in Gotham as a result. It becomes a story of kings and queens as opposed to normal people living in this world. And I think that's one reason why when you get to Harvey Dent's death, that it doesn't sit well with me. Because we see Batman go out of his way to save Joker. And it's very similar how Joker almost dies and how Two-Face does die. And granted, yes, Joker had a farther distance to fall. That's true. And Batman wasn't catching someone. But Batman was also like bound underneath like a freaking metal bar. Like he was like a little more restrained. So you'd think it wouldn't be as difficult to transition, like as he's pushing Harvey down, he'll like do the throw a batarang or grapple him or something like that. Or maybe like just swat him and like save the kid or do some other maneuver. It feels, again, like my issue with both Ra's and Two-Face's death is that there should have been an attempt. Like I just feel I just feel like the lack of attempt is what bugs me the most. He doesn't even try. Like it's a split second decision, yes, but with Two-Face, like it's worse with Ross to me. Like
well,
it really bugs me.
I guess with the Two-Face thing, so I used to have this really old stupid criticism of the movie of like, oh, why doesn't Batman just like stealth his way into like knocking out Harvey so he could like
I remember
disarm
those
him?
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he could
That's
like disarm
nostalgic.
Harvey, and then there's no hostage situation. But it's so in terms of like an attempt, I think like the fact that he comes out of the shadows and he's just trying to reason with Harvey. He's talking about, you were the best of us. The Joker chose you because of that, and like you weren't the only person that lost something, right? I think sort of that's like more akin to like his attempt, right? And I will say in regards to the fall really quick, it would be dope if like he pulled out like a B-task or like comic Batman move where he like threw the bat rope over a piece of wood and then he was able to save both of them. But I think that's where that moment where like it's either Bruce holds on to Gordon's son or Harvey. That's like where they inject sort of like realistic kind of like the realism of the Nolan trilogy into it. It's like,
It makes it more
oh,
limited.
I
that
think
like
thematically,
yeah,
thematically it fits the movie.
I'll tell you what I've always kind of thought they should have done. And again, I'm going into fan fiction territory, but I think what they should have done is something a little different. I always feel like, how he's flipping the coin and seeing who he should pass judgment on. I thought he should have done himself last. I think I always felt like
Harvey should have done himself last.
Yeah, I think it should have been like he tried to kill the boy, his son, James Gordon, basically. Batman like disarms him, but Harvey's left with the coin now. He flips it one last time on himself, and then throws himself off, and Batman can't reach him in time or something like that.
Huh.
I felt that would have been a more effective way of doing it, where Batman can't save him, and he can't save him from himself, but it's like, or like in a struggle, Batman gets injured and can't reach him in time, like he's been shot, or he's trying to heal himself and Batman, or like recover, or he's losing blood, or he's holding on to James Gordon, and then flips the coin to himself and throws himself off. I felt that would have been more effective, because that would have been more thematically resonant with that idea of chaos. And then you could have had the same ending. He's still dead. You can still blame Batman for it. Something like that. I always thought that would have worked better. But again, that's fan fiction. You really can't. That's me saying I wish the movie did something a little different. But I feel like that's the most two-faced way.
An interesting idea.
Yeah, I felt that would be more effective, because it wouldn't have broken Batman's no-kill rule. And it would have been a case of Batman failing to save Harvey, and it's that kind of element where the whole movie is centered on Joker showing that you can corrupt something that's incorruptible. And I think that would be a good example of it, like a full completion of it. Because I feel like otherwise, what ends up happening is Joker says you have to break your one rule to stop me. And Batman breaks his one rule. He does play executioner. Yeah, it's in the moment. Yeah, it's like a split-second decision. But like, he still kills Harvey Dent. And that, to me, I feel kind of gets like brushed into the rug, like we have all this time in the movie spent talking about how there's a no-kill rule, how Batman will not break his one rule, how Batman can't do this one thing, how even with the Joker, when one of the most evil people Batman's ever faced, he still won't break his one rule with him. And it's not necessarily that I have an issue in theory with Batman having a spur-of-the-moment decision and having to do something to save someone's life. It's that Batman never reflects on the fact he just killed someone. He doesn't feel any guilt about it. Doesn't linger. He doesn't think back on it. The movie, we cut 8 years, so even if he did grieve, we didn't see any of it happen. Batman should be upset. Batman should be broken up by his choice. And, that's
I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that, but I will point out, I think what makes it effective, the way that Harvey dies, is that I think the thematic, I think what they were going for thematically is Joker's ideology is that you can't sustain rules because there's always going to be situations where you have to break those rules to get the job done. Like, you can't have morality because, if you want to save society, you sometimes have to break that morality to, sustain it, which is like a tragic reality of life. I think what's interesting is that what Batman's compromise to that is that he's not gonna absolutely break his rules, but he has to make like exceptions at times. Yeah, like not outright killing people, but he has to like do things that like, are like exceptions to even his own rules. Like at least a little like smaller like things. Like for example, like when he hacks into all the phones and stuff. It's like a really immoral stuff. Like the movie talks about that as well.
You mean like ring cameras today?
He flat out pulls off a surveillance state, and like the movie does criticize him for that. But the whole point of that is that Bruce doesn't morally agree with that, but like he's starting to acknowledge that the Joker isn't 100% right, but there's still a point there where you do have to make exceptions so you get the outcome that will be, best for everyone, morally speaking even. And I think that's what happens with Harvey. This is the best he can do at the moment in like this more realistic version of the story. He has to make a split-second decision. He had to tackle him, make sure he didn't shoot the kid. And when it came down to it, he's going to save the kid over some, guy who's killed people.
And I don't disagree with that, but I feel like the issue I have with that is that it does kind of, and I've seen people in chat mention this too, so I'm going to kind of echo what they're saying to an extent. It does feel a little bit like the resolution of the film involves Batman breaking the rules he establishes for himself. And my issue is, yeah, in theory, that's interesting. And I don't disagree with that concept, that he has to bend his rules to succeed. But I feel like with the surveillance thing, at least it detonates at the end, he destroys it. It's a sign, it's a one and done. But there isn't that ethical struggle that Bruce has. There's the ethical struggles around Bruce that we can assume as the audience inform Bruce's decision making as well. Like in Lucius is like, as long as machine's here, you can expect me not to be coming back, work next day, whatever. And then of course he's satisfied with, okay, it's gone now. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I do feel like to an extent, the film shows Bruce breaking his rules without reflecting on what the results that is. I know that someone in chat mentioned that, yes, Batman stops being Batman for 8 years, sure, but that's more because of A, Rachel, and more because of B, the fact that he has to turn Batman into a villain to justify the systems of Gotham, just making sure the city's safer. Like it feels more like a sacrifice as a result of what he did. And I have issues with him giving up being Batman for 8 years under those circumstances. I feel like I have issues with that. But that's kind of ties in with
I think
Rises, which I think we'll get to shortly.
Well, real quick with I think Rises completely undercuts the theme and the meaning of the ending of Dark Knight. Like all the whole speech about, Batman's meant to take it, like, because nobody else can. And then Dark Knight Rises, I gave up because Rachel died. It's like
take it, actually.
I was talking about this last night with Comic Legend and SK, but like I also have the same issue. To a lesser degree with Dark Knight Returns, I think, real quick, I think that book's really overrated.
Yes,
but I think it is almost antithetical to Bruce Wayne's character. You can make him give up being Batman, that's fine, but for him to give up being Bruce Wayne, essentially, I think that makes no sense to me. Like for him to completely forego being a philanthropist. Now, I will say in Rises, they do kind of like mitigate that a little bit with the fact that he works on like a clean energy program, which is another conversation we had last night, where it's just like, personally, that's not enough for me as a Batman fan for him to like, I need more as a philanthropist.
Like, I feel like clean energy is more like an Iron Man thing than a Batman thing. I mean, it's Batman too, but that feels more like something Iron Man would be working on. And then hands-on, not like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna trust you to make a literal nuclear reactor in our city.
Yeah, I feel like it's another interesting thing is I think the best way I can put it is that as Bruce Wayne, he tackles like social and systemic injustices, and in environmental stuff. Like he is an environmentalist in the comics too. Like he owns his own like he literally bought like acres of land in Gotham by Wayne Manor just so like nobody can touch it. Like he has a whole farm full of animals and like does to like mitigate like carbon emissions or whatever, stuff like that. Yeah, that just makes me think of other points. Like I also don't like that this Bruce it is and begins for the kind of, but like he's way less of an engineer than like he would be in the comics.
Okay. Can you hold that thought? Because
yes, I will. I know. I totally jumped.
No. Because I want to let a few super chats play real quick, but also I'm with you 100% on that. And I just want to let these super chats play because they've been building up a lot. But I want you to say everything you're gonna say right now. Okay, let some super chats play real quick, real fast.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's a fact to do with Joker. We'll get to that probably later. That's a big one. Yep. Yeah, Joker's a big one. We'll get to Joker shortly. That's a big point of discussion. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the. Oh, sorry. Yes, and Long Halloween we'll discuss too, because I have issues with it as an adaptation of that story as well. Mark Hamill is amazing as Joker, undeniably so. Thank you for being with for 11 months there, Mrs. Vanessa Vengeance. Thank you for the wave. Okay, Jeff, that is a hot take. I appreciate it though. Oh God. That is a hot take, Jeff. I love 1966 Batman, but that's not. I don't know if it's the best one. I didn't forget that. I mentioned it just before with no Crow from that. That is a long conversation that I don't know if I can get into with that one. But someone would have Clefairy probably. When Sylveon probably. Batman meets Scooby-Doo is the best Batman crossover. I will take no questions on that one. Yeah, Catholic guilt's a big one. Daredevil has a good reason for not wanting to piss off the priests or the Pope. That's fair. I don't disagree with you in that one. That's fair. Also, people are saying that John DiMaggio and Kevin Michael Richardson were also great Jokers, which is absolutely valid. No argument there. They're all really good. I think the only Joker I didn't love was freaking Data from Data from Star Trek.
Oh, Jared Leto?
No. What's his name? I forget the actor. Brent Spicer. Brent Spicer. Did I say his name? Crud. Not sure if I'm blanking his name. Hang on. Let me go check this. Not going crazy.
Guy in Young Justice was also not very good.
Brent Spiner, there we go. Brent Spicer. Yeah, no, he was in Young Justice, I believe, as Joker. Yeah, he's the only one I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this one.
Wait, are we talking about Joker right now?
Yeah.
Because I had to go for a second.
You know what?
Just like voice actor.
First, because we were talking about the technology and tinkering. Let's do tinkering first, then Joker. Because I feel like Joker and the villains are their own can of worms.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think we just want to start talking about the tinkering stuff. I feel that's a good point. So, back to me saying there, by the way.
Oh yeah. With the you said like keep talking about that, right?
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay. That's a big issue I have with Dark Knight in general, honestly.
It's interesting, right? I also think like this is it kind of created this misconception of Batman as well, and I don't know if it leads over into other adaptations. I'd have to think about it. But so in the comics, Bruce machines, this is a quote from the book, machines 99% of the parts for his, not only his technology, but Wayne Enterprise technology too. Batman Zero Year outlines that he is not only a like absurdly smart master engineer, he's also a quick engineer. Like he can create tools to get out of life or death situations. And the main thing I wanted to say was that like this is why I think Pattinson is the best live action adaptation, no contest. Or that's not the main reason, but like that is, it helps. But sorry, the misconception is that Lucius does everything when in the comics Batman is the one who like creates majority of his technology. And also on two different occasions for long periods of time, Bruce is actually like very involved in Wayne Enterprises. He only gives it to Lucius during Nightfall when like he's completely burnt out and he feels the need to throw himself into being Batman because the company starts to suffer for it. So he's like, Lucius, I'm shifting over full control to you. So he's in full control until I think he like dies in Final Crisis, and then Bruce comes back and he starts like Batman Incorporated, which at that point is like, oh, you play into like, he's working on Batman and Bruce Wayne. So and the movie point being the movie like kind of in terms if we're talking adaptation like misses like those aspects. Then one more thing I want to say about the no kill really quick. You brought up that it's more based around like the idea that it's the law and that it's like right or wrong and that he's trying to like respect that, I guess. Which is the only I think that's interesting because and then somebody brought up Daredevil. That's more of a Daredevil thing, funnily enough. Like if you read Frank Miller's Daredevil run, his basis for his no kill rule at the time, it's honestly not even rooted in Catholicism in that moment because he's talking. This cop is like, why don't you just kill Bullseye? And he's like, it's because I believe in the law. The law is what gives us like, what keeps us from being like savage and like corrupt. So if we start breaking the law and we start bending it and twisting it, for like selfish and vengeful purposes, then like, then it's complete chaos. So I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, Batman's supposed to be an engineer. So
no, yeah, I agree with everything you just said, pretty much. Also, Daredevil, in general, I feel like Nolan might have been happy writing a Daredevil story at certain points, but
honestly, yeah, maybe.
Honestly, I'll watch that. But no, I agree with you. I think taking away, and it's not just simply taking away the engineering; it's also taking away the detective work from Batman. You take away, because Batman's not just a fighter, he's not just a brawler, he's not just his tool belt, he's not just his gadgets, he's an intellectual, he's a genius. And I feel the Nolan films, by taking away his technical genius and his detective genius, does a lot of negative to the character as a whole. I feel like it takes away more than it adds. With Lucius, it's more obvious because now he has his personal Q. Again, with the whole "it's James Bond" really idea. The fact that Batman doesn't do a lot of detective work in the Nolan trilogy, I think is a huge problem. I think every other adaptation does more detective work than the Nolan trilogy. Even the Schumacher films, I think, does more detective work and investigation than the Nolan films. Because if you really look at everything, in The Dark Knight Rises, Alfred figures everything out. Basically, Alfred figures out who Bane is and who his connections are. It's all Alfred.
It's wonky.
Batman doesn't do anything. Yeah, he just walks. Alfred does on his off time, basically.
Yeah, it's there's an interesting line, real quick. I pointed this out because I know like show versus tell, like obviously that's like a principle in like filmmaking and like TV or whatever you want to call it, or like just writing in general. But there was a line in Dark Knight Rises. He talks about how Bruce lifted the prints off his safe that had his mom's pearls, and like that's how he found out who Selena Kyle was. And during our like watch party, I was like, oh, I really like that. That's my I like that Batman. That like that's a very Batman line. And then Comic Legend brought up the good point. It's like, yeah, too bad we didn't see any of it, and they just kind of say it.
That's the biggest issue. Yeah. There's elements of detection there. You're right, but it's like it's all off screen.
Yeah.
The only thing we get is how there's like I think the scene in The Dark Knight where he gets like the fingerprints off the fragmented bullet shells, which is like okay, you have magic technology that can figure that out. Okay, the oils of those fingerprints would be like fucking vaporized in the. None of it makes any sense, but okay, sure, let's go with it. But then he just doesn't do it ever again after that, and it's kind of like he has like all these tools, but none of it. He's like given everything. The only things that, and again, that's the big thing with The Dark Knight Rises in general. A lot of the movie doesn't show you how he gets from point A to point B. How does he get from the prison in the middle of wherever back into Gotham City where all the gates in are like all the bridges in are guarded? He has a way he gets in. We just don't see it because Nolan didn't think it was important to show how he did it. And it's like what's so frustrating about those bits is not that it's a plot hole. Like there is an explanation. We were just never shown it. And that's the most frustrating thing of all because that's how it's interesting. That's the interesting part of Batman. How he overcomes conflict. And Nolan, throughout the whole trilogy, undermines that by cutting to the next set piece. He's more interested in you look at the Batman, right? There is that great scene in the Batman towards the end, and yeah, I know everyone thinks the movie goes on for too long. You're not wrong, but like still, where he figures out where in the Riddler, like there's this whole map in the Riddler's base. He figures out what his plan is to blow up all the dams and whatever, or the levees, whatever. And like, you see him figure it out piece by piece. Like, oh, this goes here, and then I pry this open, and the password is he puts it all together in real time. We see step by step by step how he figures everything out. And even though he is late, it's still impressive he got to that conclusion because we're seeing every step along the way. Even in the friggin' Tim Burton films, which, goes a long way to reducing Batman's role in his own story, we still see how Batman figures out, okay, he looked at all the chemicals, he tested them all together, and off screen, sure, he did it, but we still see, okay, we see his logic at least.
I would say that's the same thing as him figuring out the stuff with Selena Kyle and Rises in the Tim Burton movie. He just kind of explains it. There's no real process.
That's
like
true.
It's almost like an afterthought. It's just, I figured it out. Here's how I did it.
Yeah, it's a bit of an
I'm not gonna tell you how I'm not gonna tell you like
is it really
the real process really.
But that film was also not from Batman's perspective. Like he's in it, but it's like he's not the viewpoint character. It's more what's her name? Oh, crud. I was like Rachel Dawes. That's not it. Crud.
Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale. There we go. Yeah. I love how I forget the names of characters right when it's relevant to like discuss them. I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote a book. I mentioned Vicky Vale, this, that, But it's more Vicky Vale's story than it is Batman's story from the idea of whose POV it is. And she does more detective work than Batman does on screen. I'll point that out. Tim Burton one.
Yeah, she's the world's greatest detective in the Timverse, that's for sure.
Just figured it out basically on her own.
Yeah, she's like Tim Drake. She figured out Bruce's Batman.
I think
honestly,
what's interesting when you going back to the Pattinson example and him solving like the map and the him opening Riddler's 4chan or whatever. It's funny.
It's Reddit, dog.
It says something. Not only is it like interesting detective work and like pacing wise, it's interesting to watch him piece it together in real time. But in that scene specifically, it also says something about his character because remember, he gets the idea to mess with the carpet by finding the carpet tucker, and the Officer Martinez is like, oh yeah, it's a carpet tucker, and Bruce doesn't know that. And a lot of people, I didn't come as a conclusion myself. I've just heard it a million times at this point. But it shows that Bruce, this super wealthy person who grew up like super rich, he doesn't know the tool of a working class like citizen, right? And it's like that just adds like a very small but like very interesting dimension to his character. And I think all the best detective Batman stories, not only is it a good mystery, or obviously it even doesn't have to be a good mystery, but it also like says something about his character. The bullet, him finding the fingerprint on like the casing in Dark Knight, it loses that extra dimension by it doesn't really say much about his character, in my opinion.
100% agree with that.
It's mainly just there. I think my take on this would be I would agree like the detective elements aren't really that like well implemented or like introduced in the movies, but I would also just argue that like these movies aren't focused on being detective stories. And I know like Batman's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, but I think all of us can acknowledge that not every Batman story is a detective story at this point. A lot of them can just be action thrillers, crime thrillers, and stuff like that. And I do think like The Dark Knight was more so a crime thriller based Batman movie, and Batman Begins is more of a character study, it's more of a character study than anything else, I'd argue, for Begins. I don't think any of them tried to be like a detective story like the Batman, so I would like say like I would agree the Batman is better at those elements. I would also just kind of say it's a little unfair because they're trying to tell two different stories.
I would say the Nolan trilogy did, I guess, like the bare minimum to establish that he is a competent detective. I think one of my favorite usages of it is in the SWAT fight scene, where he discovers what's really going on with the clowns and them being the hostages, and the fact that the doctors are the real goons working under Joker. I think that's probably the coolest element, as well as how he uses the sonar mapping to understand and strategize his environment. But yeah, I would definitely say, like, if someone as a Batman fan said they wish they saw more detective work, I think that would be reasonable. But I would also agree with Comic Legend that these stories aren't really aiming to heavily lean into the detective aspect, so I think it's fine for what it is.
I do want to bring up, alternatively, I think they do a much better job than I think most of the other live-action Batman movies of showing how good he is as a strategist, and I think that's more of what they're focusing on. How does Batman think through situations without being a superpowered individual? Like you see,
like the Hong Kong scene.
Yeah.
Hong Kong's a great example. The SWAT fight is like such a great example. You know, he's a strategic genius. In that one.
I think that there's really though and only applies in the Dark Knight. I don't think that's. I think in Batman Begins you get that sense more of the ingenuity and like more ninjutsu kind of element of it, where he's using shadows, he's using distractions. Whereas in the Dark Knight, it's
presentation, I believe. It's more of like his presentation and how he uses that in strategy. Like how he deals with Falcone and his men is, it's smart, it's strategical, but it's also he's making himself bigger than he is. It's a presentation idea. You know, he's using fear as like a weapon. So I do think they explore that better than I would even argue even Pattinson's Batman. I think he's like the best Batman when it comes to strategy out of all the live action ones we've seen.
Yeah, well, Pattinson's Batman also, they take a lot of steps to show his shortcomings, to make him seem more inexperienced, I think. And that's a good thing about that movie. It works for that film. Whereas I think especially in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you get a real sense of him as a combatant, in these big set pieces, which I think of as more as less as action sequences and almost more like visual giant puzzles. Like especially, you know, especially like you're saying the sonar scene with the clowns and then switching places. It's like a giant puzzle. Or even like, I guess the chase at the end, in the halfway point in the film, and it's like different puzzles Joker sets up that Batman sometimes figures out and sometimes doesn't, and the consequences of not figuring out the right pieces to put into place at the right time results in Two-Face being scorched and Rachel dying and Joker escaping, you know, and this, that, and the other. I think that element works really well. I think, though, that completely falls apart in Dark Knight Rises, where the big strategy for the final battle is, let's get all the cops in one spot and all the bad guys in the other spot, and let's just have them run against each other.
Like one of the things that stands out is that, like, the tumblers would just shoot them all down. It's done.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you have all this brilliant, like, clever stuff in the first two films for these set pieces, and the final fight is, let's have them just run at each other. You have guns and like other weapons, and let's just punch each other hard in the face. It's like, what the fuck are we doing, guys?
Like, I definitely think the fun of Begins and Dark Knight is that when you see Batman versus like the main villain of the movie, it's not some big epic superhero fight. It's usually you're watching a chess game, but in real time. Like, you'll see, what I like is in Begins, they show, Batman will apprehend Falcone. He gets information from Flask, and he's getting information. He's getting closer and closer. But then you also see, like, you know, the League of Shadows, like, assassinating Rachel's boss to make sure they don't figure out the device they're going to use. They're using scare. It's like they're moving pieces. They're both like strategizing to win the game, and then in the end, Batman like gets the checkmate with him and Gordon. Like, exactly. I think that's really interesting in its own way.
I agree. No, I fully agree with that. But I think the problem is that all this discussion just highlights how weak the last one is. Like, you have all this really clever stuff. And then the last one, it's like, even like the first fight with Bane, a lot of people like that. I'll say this. One clear weakness throughout the whole trilogy is hand-to-hand combat. The sequences are best when it's a giant, like you're saying yourself, you're seeing all the pieces line up, but it's the final fist fight. I don't think the fight with Roz and Batman is as bad, but it is hard to follow. Like, cause especially considering how clever everything else around that fight is. Like, there's the thematic element, there's the interpersonal struggle, there's Gordon trying to blow up the railings so the train crashes. Like, that's compelling stuff, and it's around the technical hand-to-hand fighting sequence.
I also think it's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I also think it's really awesome that the fight didn't even matter, because Batman won like the first few seconds it happened, because he just went to the controls of the train and just deactivated the train so it couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, the train's done, and Gordon already like messed up the railing, so it's like, I think that's really cool too, because it's Batman beats Ra's by like you never paid attention to your surroundings, but it's in a bigger scope than what Ra's does, because Ra's is based on one-to-one fights. When he does that to Bruce, oh, you didn't notice the ice, right? But Bruce is like a bigger scope. It's like the overall like outcome of events.
Yeah, and theatricality.
It's really cool.
Distracting the opponent completely.
It's really
it's good stuff.
It's really unfortunate in regards to like the hand-to-hand choreography, because if in the behind the scenes in like the Blu-ray of Batman Begins, in like pre-production, they were talking about how like they did all this research on all these different types of like fighting styles in order to, like the comics, like make this big conglomerated like combined fighting style that's completely unique to Batman. And then going into the trilogy, it's like we don't really see much of that, like mainly in Begins. But again, that's bogged down by like some really bad camera cuts, and pacing. But I want to say real quick about the SWAT scene. What's really for sure, like when I'm watching it, I think it's like one of the best Batman action sequences ever. The actual hand to hand, like if you watch it, it's a little like what's the word, like not lame, but like
clunky,
right? Underwhelming. It's underwhelming.
Yeah.
The real appeal of that action scene is, he's taking the sticky bomb gun from the Hong Kong scene, and he's putting it on those giant bars that are holding up the second floor. He's tying the rope to the SWAT members. He's like he's like scaling the building with his grappling hook, and he's using the sonar, and it's like that stuff is just like amazing to me. It's like makes that scene so satisfying. It's just, the hand-to-hand is really weak, and it's like it's at its worst in Rises, because guys are just falling over without actually being hit.
Yeah, again, it's a huge visual puzzle. That's what I like about those sequences. I don't like the hand-to-hand combat in any of the Nolan films, which is one of the reasons why I think The Dark Knight Rises is the weakest with its action scenes, because it is all primarily hand-to-hand combat or chases, and the chases aren't particularly compelling either. I think one of the most disappointing fights in the whole series is ultimately the Batman versus Bane fight. Both of them, really, but the first one especially. I think it kind of sucks. I remember as like when I first watched that film, when it first came out in theaters, because the comic has the iconic panel of like a Bane just taking Batman and smashing him against his knee, and his whole back bending backwards. It's so visceral. And I don't think that comic is all that great, but that sequence is incredible in the comics, where he's worn down after like a freaking whole day and night of fighting, and then at his most exhausted, Bane takes advantage of it and breaks his back and leaves him broken. Here it's like Batman casually walks into Bane's lair, not at all, like just walks right in, doesn't prep, doesn't prepare, and then just, it's Bane and him fighting. And it's like, okay, now I guess they just have to fight. Like, okay, tries using theatricality or something like that. And it's not that it doesn't even not work, it's that he just throws some, like, distracting like explosives. And then
he basically firecrackers at Bane.
I see, Batman. It's like, he's not even trying to do anything with it. It's like, just throw an explosive. That'll stop him. It's like
Batman forgot to restock his utility belt, and he's like, "Fuck! Oh shit! I have chalk. Why do I have chalk?" And he just throws a bunch of chalk at Bane. Turns a little fucking white powder.
What are you doing with this? What's the plan? It's just like it's underwhelming. It's like it doesn't even feel as clever as anything that came before it. And you're like, this is the culmination. This is like the big fight that best Batman. It's like he's not even like a fraction of what he was more clever fighting the Joker, and the Joker was like not a guy with all that much physical strength. You know, it's like, what are you doing here?
With real quick, when I didn't bring this up during the watch party, but let me know if you guys agree or disagree. But I kind of think Batman's arrogance, like in the entire like first half of Rises, or like up until he fights Bane and then he gets broken, like his arrogance and like eagerness to like, well, actually, I was gonna say it was arbitrary at first, but I guess the reasoning they give is because, well, I'm standing by it. I think it's arbitrary that like so Alfred's telling him like, hey, this guy has a huge reputation, literally excommunicated by Ra's al Ghul, and Batman is just like they kind of, one might say they like contrive him to be like contradictory to Alfred. He's like, so I'll fight harder, I'll fight stronger. It's what I've always done. It's like, Batman, no, you've been a strategist the past 2 movies. Like what's with the arrogance, I guess.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And again, this is the problem. The trilogy leads The Dark Knight Rises, and that movie just drops every ball. Like, it just fails. It just, there are elements of it I enjoy. It's fun to watch, but when you actually think like what is happening scene to scene, character to character, it's like Batman does not act like Batman. Bruce does not act like Bruce. Even the version of the character we've had established up until this point, like, yeah, he's always had an issue where it's like he has to listen to Alfred. He has to, Alfred has some nugget of wisdom that helps guide his actions for the rest of the film, and that's fine. That's good. Alfred should be contributing to the plot in some way, but it's like he so refuses to actually learn anything about his opponent. He doesn't even bother. He doesn't try finding video of him and try finding out, here's his fighting technique. Here's how he combats people. Like, he just kind of assumes, I'll wing it and it's fine. Like, will you? Like, will you though?
I think the fact that he's split with Alfred might be a factor that plays into it, because we at least see in The Dark Knight that he also has a level of arrogance as well, where he thinks, criminals aren't very complicated, Alfred. We just need to figure out what he's after. And that's kind of how he learns in the movie, through Alfred just explaining to him, the Joker's not like most criminals. He can't be bullied into submission. He just wants to watch the world burn. And that's something that I think plays into Batman's strategy later on in the parting gifts. It's something that plays into Batman's strategy in the third act, where he says it's not that simple. With the Joker, it never is. He's catching on to what Joker's doing before the cops even do, because he's really learned his enemy to a decent capacity by this point. And I guess you could say that he should try that with Bane as well, but I think the fact that he has limited information and not, many other leads on him besides Catwoman, I think it makes it understandable that he would be more arrogant and kind of step in head first in the situation against Bane, especially since he wasn't expecting like Catwoman to just like lock him up like that. He wasn't fully expecting to be trapped in there.
Do you think his death wish also plays into it?
I'm sorry, I cut you off there. Sorry, can you say it again?
Real quick, SK, do you think his death wish plays into that? Because Alfred makes a point of that. He's like, like, I'm afraid you want to die. Like, I'm afraid you want to go out there and die, right? That's his whole arc in the movie is learning to fear again.
Yeah, I think part of it is his death wish, but I also think, like, if Alfred was there to help him, which I think Alfred should have done this in the movie, but I think it would have been better if Alfred was there reluctantly helping Bruce be Batman, but only because he thinks that would be the best way to save his life, if he's at least feeding him information, if he can't stop him from being Batman. But I can definitely see if Alfred were there with him, Bruce deploying a different strategy.
I think also a factor too worth discussing, and I think this is kind of a transition point in discussion. One issue I have with the series as a whole, and I mentioned this in my video a while back, I have an issue with the villain selection of these films.
Oh boy,
and
I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think
I love some Batman villains.
Oh yeah, no, this is the fun part. one issue a lot of people have with the movies is that, you know, they're too realistic, they're too grounded. And I don't even necessarily have a problem with that necessarily. I have criticisms as a fan. I would love to see a Clayface. I would love to see a Mr. Freeze or something more outlandish. I would love to see Joker Venom or Venom the drug, you know? But I feel the big issue thematically is the arrangement of villains, the roles they play, as well as ultimately how the lackluster nature of Bane. For one, this series focuses way too much on the League of Shadows. I think that's not a uncommon complaint, and I get there's always a sense that a trilogy has to go back to the starting point to an extent, but the League of Shadows kind of dominates the film in a way that keeps it from ever progressing, thematically at least, especially considering how The Dark Knight, it's no secret The Dark Knight drew to some extent from The Long Halloween. I mean, every Batman movie draws from The Long Halloween, it feels like, but I feel like The Dark Knight was more explicitly about that. And The Long Halloween is essentially a comic book about transition from the old guard of mafioso and classic criminals to a more chaotic form of criminals. But we transition from organized crime in this film to 8 years of peace, and then the same bad guys it's always been. There's no sense of transition or transformation for Gotham because of The Dark Knight Rises. You know, because the film takes the choice it does, it kind of refuses to show Gotham unhinged. And what's so crazy is Batman Begins as a more unhinged Gotham than it ends up being in The Dark Knight Rises. Like in Batman Begins, we see a Gotham that is, you know, fully divided by class. It's run down. It's foggy. It's dreary. One of the big villains is Scarecrow, a character who literally exploits mania and terror in his opponents. And as the films go on, Scarecrow becomes more of a Team Rocket grunt almost, you know? I feel like by the time we get to The Dark Knight Rises, Jesse and James and Meowth are more threatening than freaking Scarecrow and freaking Crane. But, you know, but the villains become more boring. I mean, not more boring, it's the wrong word. More normal. With each film, we draw farther and farther away from mania and more towards just basic criminals. We go from Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul to Bane and Catwoman. And Catwoman is like basically just a cat burglar. She's not even like particularly associated with the iconography of Catwoman. Her tools come from Batman for most of the film. She has like the goggles. She can kick with high heels, and she gets Batman's motorcycle. And that's most of what she gets. You know, there's nothing really Catwoman about her. And Bane is just Ra's al Ghul's like toady, basically, or like a reject of Ra's al Ghul, but like he's basically just buff Ra's al Ghul for the functions of the plot. And he's not even the big villain. He is. He's basically
buff Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. Like, really, what does he really do that's any different than Ra's al Ghul? They both want to destroy the city. Okay.
No, I agree. I just think it's really funny.
But the only difference is now he's like. Exactly. He went to the gym a lot, you know, and got cool facial mask, you know.
Well, it's interesting. Oh man, I have so much more to say, but like, I guess the main thing is when we look at Rises, it's like 4 different Batman, not just comics, event comics rolled into one. It's Nightfall. It's No Man's Land, Legacy. I guess 3. I was gonna say Contagion. It's not Contagion.
No.
But so
it's also Dark Knight Returns a little bit too, I'd say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they literally pay homage to it when Batman like makes his public debut or like return. But what's interesting, right, is you look at a story like Batman Legacy, which like you can see the parallels between Dark Knight Rises, like what they're trying to go for in Rises, and then why it works in the comics, because Bane teams up with Ra's al Ghul, but he doesn't do it for like necessarily like an ideological reason. He does it to fuck with Batman. He's like, dude, he's Batman's D1 reverse Flash level hater. That he's like, I'm gonna take your place. I'm gonna bang your ex-girlfriend Talia, and I'm gonna take the place of like the Demon's Head and work alongside Ra's al Ghul. Like, and it's and you know, he eventually gets his ass kicked by Bruce. It's like the official rematch since Nightfall. And then like, you know, obviously before I forget to mention it, you bring up the shift from like how Long Halloween does it, from crime bosses and like petty crime, or like drug dealing, all that stuff, to super criminals. It's interesting because if you're going to adapt a story like Nightfall or No Man's Land, those stories, a lot of them, like when you look at those events, contained what happened when you take those fantastical characters and you completely unleash them, and you see how they react to the events surrounding them and how Batman reacts to them, right? Like in No Man's Land, we saw Joker's perspective on everything, right? Like he decided to kidnap babies and and take a bunch of cops and paint him to be Joker so that other police officers will shoot at them. And then we look at Bane's role in it. Bane is kind of like a Lone Ranger sort of character in No Man's Land. He's just kind of doing whatever. All he cares about is like self-preservation. And Scarecrow is trying to manipulate the citizens. There's a really good story I was talking about with Comic Legend earlier. Fear of Faith. It's one of Scarecrow's few good comics. It involves like this church and this priest, and Scarecrow's trying to manipulate these people into turning on each other and like becoming more violent. Point being, Rises completely misses the point of those books and just kind of utilizes like the iconography and like very specific and like plot points from it. Like they take like not even like the skeleton of those stories, they take like maybe like the ribs of it, or like the fibia of it, or sorry, tibia.
Yeah, more like half a rib.
Dark Knight Rises like conceptually totally misses, like it like undermines the idea of like the point of getting rid of like mob bosses.
I think Dark Knight Rises definitely misses it. I will say, when it comes to Begins and Dark Knight, I do think there's some elements of The Long Halloween, but I don't really think the story of those movies is supposed to be. I don't think it's supposed to be the same thing where it is like completely retaken over by the crazier sides of Batman's rogues. Because if anything, it's kind of doing something a little bit different with it. It's not that the mob is getting replaced by it, it's that the mob is using dirtier tactics because they don't want to lose their power, so they're willing to like associate with people like the Joker to like keep themselves on top, which causes them to self-destruct.
Exactly. That's fair too. I think the big thing from Long Halloween it takes is ultimately Batman, Jim Gordon and Harvey working together, and even then, like maybe more so than in The Long Halloween, because that really shows the friction between them more often than not. But yeah, no, it doesn't do the transition well. It focuses more on the mob getting desperate, and that's fair. I also think there's one character we're kind of neglecting. I will say this too with Scarecrow, because we keep mentioning him. I am very underwhelmed with the direction took Scarecrow in, because he is the only reoccurring bad guy in all three of these films, and they go from like him being pretty intimidating to like just it's so underwhelming. I don't know. Like the fact that the Scarecrow toxin never gets more frightening than it does in that first film. The fact that Nolan seems afraid to use Scarecrow's abilities in a way to really show some crazy hallucinations. It shows Nolan's hesitation to the director more than anything else. And the fact they never figure out ways to reincorporate villains like Scarecrow in a way that doesn't feel like a pale echo of what came before, I think reflects on the element of Batman's character that I like the most, which is how he refaces these guys again and again and again. They have to change their tactics to fight Batman. Like Scarecrow has become stagnant. He doesn't really adapt.
I definitely want to tackle Scarecrow.
Go for it.
Especially during this time, I do want to point out that Scarecrow generally is a character that always suffers with this, because usually he does only have that one trick with the fear toxin, and without that, he always is like more of a lesser villain against Batman for like until like a resurgence of his popularity, I'd argue, because of the Arkham games.
Yeah, but Arkham really, those levels really brought him into the forefront, I feel like.
That's the reason people think Scarecrow's cool. But, like, in all honesty, like how he's been a character historically in Batman media usually is that he's a second-rate villain. And I think like thematically it fits his character because Scarecrow's whole thing is that he wants to feel powerful because he was so powerless when he was bullied as a child. So he just uses fear as a weapon to get back what he felt he lost. And I think the ultimate like tragedy and what makes him pathetic as like a bad guy is the fact that once people are able to overcome that fear, he has nothing left and he is just some crook. And I think that's why it works that Batman can just throw him away like a piece of trash in The Dark Knight. Because once Batman's able to like not let his fears consume him from Begins, Scarecrow really doesn't have anything he can use against Bruce. So I do think like it works there.
And that's fair too, but like I kind of wish they'd show him adapt in some way, or like find a way to work in a more interesting manner. Like how interesting would it have been if during the final fight with Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, the fear toxin was used in some way to cause disarray among the cops. Like,
that would have been cool.
It would have been cool because you have a character who could do something fun. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't work on Batman, but it could work on everyone around Batman. And then you have to regain order over them in some way. Like that would be something interesting. But, you know, like,
I mean, I think me and Batnick agreed on this when we were watching Rises. I do think it's a big issue in the movie that they show him, like, he's there, right? But he's doing something he just wouldn't do in his character. He's, like, being this judge when it's like, your whole thing is that you're obsessed with your experiment. Why would you not go out there and restart your drug empire you were trying to build up in The Dark Knight? Especially that Batman isn't here to stop you.
Or just have the cops hooked up to fear toxins, you know? Like, why bother with the ice thing? Just have him freaking go, like, Mengele on these cops, you know? Like, he could easily... That would be more in character for him. Like, it would be like, oh, now you have a playground to do whatever you want with these guys, and you have some, like, terrifying component you can use later on in the film. Like, something interesting. I feel like the way they... I agree that, yeah, he is kind of a 2-bit villain in that sense. I like it when you do a little more with Scarecrow. I think he's a character with a lot of potential to have other characters explore their personal fears and anxieties. And again, that's a case-by-case basis. Depends on the story. Depends on how you use them.
Well, I would like to say, even though he is usually a second-rate kind of villain in the movies, I think that what they did, which I feel is more important anyways, is how they characterize him. They get Scarecrow really right in the movies. Because his whole idea, his whole like obsession is control, power, and like experimentation. He's obsessed with fear in the movie, and like his whole motive is to like do this for his own little feeling of like being above others. Like he wants to hold the city up ransom with his fear toxin for that exact reason. And there's like little bits where they show that he is like obsessed with breaking people's minds, which is why it's so beneficial for him to manipulate, the infrastructure of society in his position as a doctor in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So I do think like he's not the main villain in any of the movies, but it's pretty impressive, at least for Begins, to characterize him the way that they do. They gave him his belief system, his ideology from the comics. His motives are basically the same, and his methods are pretty much in character. He's just not a main focus villain, which I think is I will say I feel like this should be more praised nowadays, because I think one of the biggest issues with a lot of comic book movies is that there's only one villain, and besides that, nothing happens. Like the Raimi Spider-Man movies, it's okay, the Green Goblin, he dies. It's like, okay, what happens in between that? Nothing happens. The world froze. Yeah. It froze. Nothing happened. Oh, did you fight Shocker? No, that's the video game. Get out of here. Nah, you gotta wait 2 years, then Doc Ock appears. Spider-Man was just, beating up powerless thugs, I guess.
Maybe
it's
Grant
really
was right.
Ridiculous, but
once the film ends, time freezes. Grant was right about that.
Yeah,
literally, yeah. Grant Paulson was right about that. But
or hell, even freaking and that's the thing too that you could have done. Like, there's so many minor Batman villains they could have had. Like, I like how in The Dark Knight he gets Scarecrow at the beginning. I like that bit too. It shows
it's amazing because it definitely builds the world. It's like Batman, like the movie doesn't start with "Hello, I'm Batman. The world froze. Now the Joker finally came." No, it's we see him in the end of another investigation where he was clearly like hunting down Scarecrow again, trying to take him in. I think that was done well.
I agree. I kind of wish you would have seen another minor villain in there too. Like I know the Gotham Knight movie does Killer Croc in there or like Deadshot, but like you can fit in like an assassin character. I know. Again, I can't believe I'm phrasing. I can't believe I'm gonna give this film a compliment. I feel guilty already. It's not like how in Batman v Superman where KG Beast is like a random muscle. I feel dirty for complimenting the film. I'm kidding. Okay. But you get what I mean. It's like a minor. Like I mean, no one. I mean, I know they have Zaz in Batman Begins, who like you barely even notice it's Zaz unless you're listening very carefully or have subtitles on.
Yeah, there's Zaz and Scarecrow, and Ra's al Ghul, and like Falcone if you want to count him.
I would count Falcone. I think it's funny because if you compare Falcone to, I guess, Falcone from the Batman, there's such different levels of intimidation. Whereas, like, Falcone's just like, oh, he's just the guy. And in Falcone, it's like, he is this terrifying crime boss in the shadows. That kind of sounds like Martin Fink.
Yeah, I really like that the Penguin TV show. Like, makes him the Hangman. As a
Oh, hold on.
Incredible villain. Like, one of the best comic book villains of all time. Leaves such a giant. My issue with the character is that he's almost too good. You know what I mean? Like, he's so compelling that whenever he's not on screen, the movie goes down a notch. Like, because you notice he's not there. Like, which sounds like a terrible thing to criticize. I go, I want more of the Joker, but like, it does result in the first, like, I guess, like third of the film feeling a lot flatter than the next 2/3 of it, really. Like, as much as I like the movie from start to finish, like, I do feel like you can feel Joker's absence in the Hong Kong sequence. As cool as that sequence is, as good of a puzzle as it is, the lack of a Joker draws from that scene. And as a lot of people point out in chat before, and as I mentioned in my original video, and this is not the film's fault that every other person afterwards forgot how to write the Joker as he was before that, I feel like. But yeah, that was and it's not the film's fault. It's just everyone else's fault.
I think it's because sorry, you go ahead, Liam, actually, or comment question.
I think before we get into Joker, I do want to because I don't know, I think I forgot to address the you were bringing up that a lot of the Batman, you didn't like the choice selections of the Batman villains in the trilogy.
Yes.
I do say I think I massively disagree with that. I think the choices are really appropriate in the same way I see it in like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. Like, they just kind of chose the big three, and I think that's the same thing they did here. Like, Ra's, Bane, Joker, I do think those are probably the big three of Batman's like main rogues. And I do think, like,
at that time, I feel especially.
Yeah, definitely at that time. And I do feel like a lot of them, I think Bane wasn't implemented well, but I think, like, ideally, if he was, I do think he would have been the best villain for the third movie if we couldn't use the Joker, right?
Yeah.
I think Ra's is perfect for his first one. Yeah, I'll be quick.
No, go for it. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm sorry for that.
No worries. I do think like Raish works perfectly for the first one because you can use him for Bruce's training while also having him have someone to connect with who's going to be the main antagonist, which I think is a smart move. There's also like the idea that Batman is created mainly because of his moral ideology, so the best villain would be the one that's the most like silver tongue with his ideology, like Raish would be. So I do think like that's a smart idea for the first one. Joker works as a curveball so that Batman has to get used to the more chaotic side of crime. And I do think Bane is the best of both worlds in a sense. Bane is a reflection of Bruce's dedication, but done for something wrong and more chaotic. Like an ultimate challenge. So I do think the selections was really handled well. And I do want to mention, I do like these movies are way more focused on realism. I do think concepts that you brought up could work. I just think they required, a different, a level of creativity and artistic intent. Like for example, I do think you could do Venom in the movie. You just have to say it's some kind of performance enhancer steroids that's like haven't been in the market yet, and just call it Venom. Like obviously,
Not that much
Bane
different from
throw
the fear toxin as well. It's like they're willing to do that.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think Bane would be able to throw cars, but I think the idea of what Venom is in a storytelling, as a storytelling device, could still work. We could still have Bane have an addiction to Venom. It's actually a problem that I think didn't bring that in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Killer Croc could still worse. Like, give him a...
Yeah,
just give him the skin condition. Just don't say he's a crocodile man. He's not literally a crocodile man. He actually just has a skin condition. He's,
Well, it's interesting because...
He used to be like wrestler in some continuities.
Well, because in Gotham Knight, like, so the way they do Croc, I could, besides some, like, obviously, like, Toon Force elements that they apply to that particular episode in the Gotham Knight, like, movie, they literally describe, like, yeah, he just has a skin condition, and, like, as far as I remember, he doesn't do any, I could be wrong, but I don't think he does anything that's, like, absurd. He does tank, like, Bruce, like, shoves a flare in his mouth, and it just kind of scares him off, and like we never see him again. But I think like again, that's supposed to be Batman from Begins in this situation. Like it's even like Scarecrow's even in it, and it's supposed to be like Cillian Murphy Scarecrow. Like that's the like continuity wise. So it's like I think it's totally up to the ability of the writer to like make it believable and make it work.
I think even Clayface could work. You just have to change. You just have to understand what makes Clayface an overall effective villain. And I think like it's you can do
Clayface
something where he's really.
One, I think
it would be hard. I think what you could do is make him more like take advantage of the actor idea, and instead of like he literally is made out of clay, he could just be called Clayface because of a reputation of being really good at hiding like his true face because he's good at makeup.
I think my big issue with Bane is that he's part of the League of Shadows. I think.
I agree.
I think that's my big issue. If he was just a guy who comes from a prison, who is obsessed with beating Batman, like he sees him as like some like military, like well not military necessarily, but he sees him as like a strategic obstacle to overcome.
A strategic genius,
like a demonic force.
Exactly, like in the comics, really. Like he just sees him as an obstacle to overcome. Like he's just his biggest hater. I feel that would be more compelling than it being like revenge for Ra's al Ghul, because it feels like it goes too bad. That's the issue. Every issue I have with Bane is anchored in Talia al Ghul. Like really, that's the big issue.
100%.
Every issue I have with Bane, it's Talia. Really, I have an issue with. It's Talia through Bane, because every decision to anchor him to Ra's al Ghul makes him less compelling. And I think like I think we all agree with that, because like I do think like Rises like really does drop the ball with this, because they should have just left the League alone. After it Begins, they should have just left. They should have like not been a thing. Like he defeated Raish, it's over. Because like I do agree, it does like it makes it feel like most of the stories about the League of Assassins is the villains now. And also they're not even like assassins. You know what I mean? Like they're just guys with guns. What are they really doing? Not
remember like, they have like
right.
This is just like totally a nitpick in Begins, but like I don't. I could be wrong. Like S can definitely correct me. But when Raish like he grapples away, and the ninjas to like deal with Batman, and they like fight and they like jump over the roof and all that crap. I don't think they even pull out their swords, do they? They all just like fist fight them.
I think a few of them do.
They do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they might have like, at least one. I don't want to say for sure none, but I think recall it. It's
totally just like
it's
a.
So
Fights are hard.
It's so hard to tell because of the terrible choreography. But I think what happened is. They jump in. One or two of them try to use their swords, but ever since they're kind of trying to dogpile them, and it's so crowded, like it's like swords are long enough that if you're right in someone's face, they're absolutely useless. So that they didn't have the opportunity to try and keep hitting them with it. So they put the swords away and tried to throw them around.
It almost feels like they aren't really good at fighting strategy, doesn't it? It's like let's get really close with the sword so they're no longer useful and their reach is no longer valuable. It's again like the macro fight, like the set piece fight is interesting. But in these films, whenever they get to the point where they're just actually swinging trying to make contact with the other guy, like something happens where everyone gets stupider and forgets how to fight. Like the brain cells leak out of their ears. I don't know what it is. Massive explosions with buildings, they figure that out just fine. But it's like when it's like throwing a punch, all of a sudden they can't do that right. I don't know what's going on with that. But I do feel like the biggest problem I think is the legacy of the film is with the Joker being so good that. And again, it's not every writer who does this. There's plenty of writers who don't do this. But I think between this, Brian Azzarello's Joker story, and Scott Snyder's death of the family, I think Joker has just stopped being Joker. He became like this super disturbing, super edgy kind of entity that no longer can even be funny. Like every Joker story has to be the Joker story. It has to be the big capital S story where Batman and Joker have their final confrontation, or the Joker does some irreversible harm to Batman. It can't just be like a one-off. That's not the case with every Joker story, obviously, but it feels like that's the majority of it at this point. It has to be the big one.
What do you?
Every time.
Because I'm really curious about that because I'm a pretty avid, I think majority of Joker stories post Dark Knight are really good. I'm actually a really big defender of Joker War, which I know a lot of people don't like that story. I think it's really good. In terms of in terms of the humor, it's been a minute since I've read like Death of the Family, Joker War, Endgame. And I forget what a couple of the other ones were. I will say they do kind of lean into his sadistic side. Like for example, I forgot the example I totally just left my brain. But it's funny with the Death of the Family one because it's like, oh, he has his, he gets his face cut off and then like he, tries to, fakes cutting off the Bat family members' faces. Which I think is I think that's sort of that moment in the book is supposed to kind of be a like commentary of like, yeah, Joker's pretty like, great, like he's sadistic, awful, evil, pure evil, or whatever. But I feel like he knew to a degree. It's like, okay, if I do this, I feel like it's gonna mess with mine and Batman's relationship because it's like just because I'm on the spot. I do think I remember finding Joker funny in Death of the Family. Like there was a lot of dialogue, especially because that book emphasizes like the.
I remember a moment where he was hilarious.
Yeah, there's like a
one of the tie-ins.
Romantic nature of the relationship. Like that's the whole point of the book. Like so much so that DC had to edit out the homoerotic dialogue for reprints, which they're cowards for. But like, well, I guess like a funny moment.
He proposes to Barbara Gordon while on roller skates, and then when she rejects him, he tries fighting her on roller skates. Like I think that's pretty funny.
I don't know if I found that funny. I'll be honest with you. Like, maybe humor is subjective, obviously. So, I mean, it was absurd, but I found it more uncomfortable than funny. But that's also subjective, ultimately.
Well, I think what I'll say is like I think it's funny because of how awful it is. But I think like that's kind of the thing. I think the Joker would find that funny because it's so gross. Because like we're so connected. We're like it's like we're married because I'm the one who like crippled you, right? And so he's like rubbing it in a way.
I remember now. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So real quick, the point I wanted to make. Do you think that, or the question I want to ask, do you think that sort of like idea that each Joker story needs to be like the end all be all Joker story? Do you think that stems from The Dark Knight, or do you think that stems from stories like Killing Joke and Dark Knight Returns? Do you think they're more at fault for it?
I wouldn't say so because I really do feel the trend started around the time of 2008. Because you still have a lot of small Joker stories after The Dark Knight Returns and after Death in the Family. I do feel also like there were fewer Joker stories after that point too. Like I feel like they were fewer in number and they were longer, and they were usually event comics. Not as a rule, but not all.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always there's always a few exceptions. But I'm saying like the ones that people the ones that were kind of more hyped up, I should say. There were of course smaller stories here and there, or stories where the Joker just showed up, Actually, you know what? I'll say maybe it was like The Last Laugh, the one where he thinks he's dying.
That's like one of the few Joker stories I actually haven't read, and I like because I just don't have. I prefer reading physically, and like finding the tie-ins for that book are so hard, or like they're really expensive. I only have the Batman one, and I actually didn't even know that story existed until like 2 years ago, and which was weird because Edward Baker, like his Batman run is like top 5 for me. So
it's fantastic. Otherwise, that story, especially because the tie-ins don't do. It's like Joker is not really Joker works because he's facing Batman. I don't personally love stories where Joker fights like Superman. I know for Joker and there's that, but it's like Joker shouldn't be. He's not a Lex Luthor where you can have him fight other heroes. And he has like a way of working with that. Joker is so specifically equipped to the type of character Batman is that he just doesn't work outside of that. I feel like, at least not on his own. Like part of like a league, sure, but not on his own. I don't think.
I don't think I agree with that because I think what makes Joker so flexible I think he's so flexible with as a villain that you can definitely do stuff like that because Joker is a very simple character in the end of the day. He's very evil, and a lot of his his motivations and belief systems can sometimes change on the fly. Like that's a part of his character. So I do think like what he represents can challenge almost any like main like superhero I can think of because he is the like walking contradiction of the belief system that a lot of heroes have for redemption, mercy, and kindness to even the bad guys. Because he's so like gone that like you could argue there's nothing there that's redeemable. So he could easily challenge any villain. He could easily challenge any hero in that aspect. I think it's interesting that he like Superman could confront him because. This is, Superman sees the good in everyone, right? It's like, how would he see the good in Joker? Like, that's a harder question.
I always think back to the one story, and I forget which issue it is. If you know what it is off top, if you have, it's where Joker tries stopping Superman, and Superman just figures out, oh, you have a bomb right here? I found it in 5 seconds. I heard the tick. Here you go.
Superman issue 40, I think.
There we go. That's the one. I always think of that. Whereas like his ability set just completely counters any of Joker's schemes before he even gets started. So it's like before Joker can even do his plots and puzzles, Superman's already solved it because his abilities can just detect where everything is and he solves in seconds. And the Joker's ruined. And Joker's like actually upset. Like he seems like hurt that he can't pull these like horrible, horrible jokes because it's just he's facing someone who by the time he's already begun telling the joke, he's figured out the punchline and already resolved it. It's like as a character, I feel like Joker is best equipped for a character who doesn't have extreme superpowers, who can figure things out like that. Maybe like a character like Flash, forget it. It's like Joker is best equipped, I think, for Batman in that sense. Not necessarily from thematics, but because the confrontation just wouldn't be as impactful as you might otherwise think.
I agree. I can I understand that when it comes to capabilities, but like if we're talking more of so like an ideological battle or how he could challenge heroes in other ways, because in fairness, he's not really even a physical threat to Batman. I do think like there is value in him in confronting other villains, and like I know Spider-Man's in a different universe, but Carnage is essentially his version of the Joker. So we can have what if we have a character that represents nihilism for Peter. And they did a lot of interesting stuff with that. How Peter has to deal with his no-killing rule and maximum carnage, having to make an exception and work with Venom and backstab Venom to stop someone that dangerous in their first ever encounter. So I do think Joker can work, depending on how you write it, to make sense with the certain heroes, at least in an ideological sense. And they did work around this with Superman. Remember, he did become Emperor Joker, and that's a confrontation Superman can now realistically have with him without just throwing him in prison at super speed.
That's true. And again, with Emperor Joker, that's a very specific set of circumstances that led to that. That's the thing. It's under very specific circumstances, Joker can be a threat. I don't particularly like Emperor Joker as a storyline. I think it's very surprisingly underwhelming what Joker does with the freaking fifth dimensional powers. But you bring up Carnage. That's a good question too, because I don't think Carnage has ever been adapted well, really ever. I don't think they've ever quite cracked Carnage in terms of adaptations yet. Especially not the way they did with Joker.
I think he's too scarring for a lot of kids to see Carnage, and I think
yeah, that's the phrase.
Batman is more comfortable doing adult stuff in media versus Spider-Man. They just won't do it. Carnage can actually rip someone in two. No one wants to see
Carnage
that.
Is
12.
Yeah, Carnage is fucking brutal. That's the thing too. Carnage is freaking horrifying.
Carnage enjoys beheading babies with his Carnage symbiote axes. He's horrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to make money with your adaptation, and I just have a hard time imagining any universe where they can get Carnage 100% right. He even grosses. There's that one Batman Spider-Man crossover comic from the 90s where the Joker and Carnage briefly team up, and Joker gets grossed out by Carnage. It's there's another level to that guy.
Yeah, even Joker is ugh, you're disgusting. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's I think with Carnage, the benefit is that Carnage doesn't set up schemes that Joker is psychological more than physical.
I don't know if I fully agree with that with Carnage. Have you ever read Carnage USA?
Yeah, no, that's fair. There are exceptions to that, but I mean what I'm trying to say is not necessarily that Carnage never sets up schemes. That's not the right phrasing of it. It's more that Carnage is more of a physical threat than a psychological threat. There is, of course, obviously Carnage USA. There's obviously Absolute Carnage, where the whole thing is a giant scheme to summon Null,
Carnage
basically.
Is a Wonderful Life is another good example.
Wonderful Life, exactly. Or Mind Bomb, too.
Yeah, Mind Bomb's another good one.
So there are exceptions to that, but I mean, the bulk of the threat Carnage plays to heroes, usually, is that of the abrasive, unstoppable chaos and this complete decimation of law and order, of any form of order in the face of just pure nihilism. And there is psychological element to that too, but it's also the raw wave of just chaos. That's, I think, a lot more applicable to any character, because Carnage is one of Spidey's main enemies. He's also one of Venom's main enemies. He's also, by and large, a Marvel Universe threat whenever he shows up. Whereas Joker, he's more personalized, I guess is a better way of putting it. Carnage, I think of as more of a wave. Joker is more of a laser pointer. He is specifically hammers into a very particular issue. And
it's actually why I would say Joker will always be more interesting than Carnage too. Is that Joker has another layer that Carnage doesn't, which is that Joker's flat out obsessed with Batman, and there's a relationship there. With Carnage and Spider-Man, it's more so that he wants he enjoys the game, but it's not as deep. So like you don't have that layer there. I guess you could maybe say there's more with Venom, but I don't know. Even then, like it's just the ideological stuff isn't as compelling because Venom's just okay with absolutely executing this guy, so that just goes away. It's a trade-off, right? It's really weird. That's why ideally you got to do both of them. Spider-Man and Venom have to team up and deal with them. Then you get both those aspects. Carnage likes messing with Eddie, and he challenges Spider-Man's ideology.
And it's also the idea of guilt, too, because both Spider-Man and Venom are partially responsible for creating Carnage. So there is that sense of
definitely
accountability. Whereas with Joker, it's like there's the idea of Joker, and Batman made Joker. And I know in the Tim Burton film, they have the whole, like, they both made each other thing. And that's all neat. But that's not the crux of the conflict out for the most part. Like, that's not really...
both of them.
Yeah, they're both products of their environment ultimately, which is ultimately a machine that causes horrible things to happen. We got way off track from The Dark Knight, but I think it's a good discussion all the same.
I wanted to two things really quick. A really good story where Joker's involved with a non-Batman character. It came out, I think, 2 years ago. It was in Action Comics, the Superstars era, or All-Star Superstars. Basically, Bizarro gets like insane godlike powers, and so he makes literally the entire planet like bizarre versions of themselves. And the one person Superman goes to is Joker, because instead of it working on Joker, it makes him sane. So like obviously you're kind of fundamentally changing like the character at that point, but it's still interesting to see like what his perspective is on like what would a sane version of Joker think of like himself and the situation around him. That's really good. I recommend it. It's by Jason Aaron, really good. And then real quick,
also the story where the Atom
make a fucking meeting list for my chat after this.
Brain cancer.
And then another thing I wanted to say, going back to like the whole like my original question of like attributing like the status quo for Joker, both like in comics and out. I will say Heath Ledger definitely impacted, or like, you know, Dark Knight's version of Joker definitely like set the bar, which and that inspired like Joaquin Phoenix and Jared Leto. Obviously Jared Leto took like the worst parts of it, and the writing didn't help. But in terms of comics, I will disagree. I do think that it does stem from, at the minimum, Killing Joke, because there is no denying that yes, damn near every single major Joker story since then, not necessarily since then, has definitely been like trying to replicate it. I don't know if you've read Joker Year One. That is genuinely one of the worst comic books ever written. Not only does it use AI art, DC officially publishing AI art, but it also retcons the fuck out of Joker's character. And that whole run retcons Joker's character. It's funny. Everything. So Chip Zdarsky's Batman run canonizes that everything the Joker has done is to bring out the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. So death of the family, killing Jason Todd, crippling Barbara, like all of that is just so he can fight Zur-En-Arrh Batman again. And it's so stupid. But
yeah. Agreed. It's fucking dumb as shit. I would also say the Three Jokers, though non-canon, is another really exhausting fucking comic as well. It really is like a canonizing the imagined past in the Killing Joke. A lot of these stories do come back to Killing Joke too, or like in a way that cheapens Killing Joke.
Definitely.
I will say me and Comic Collision are pretty big fans of the Three Jokers. I like Three Jokers a lot. Honestly, not even for the.
Sorry.
Not even. And this is like a consistent thing. Like with me personally, is like everything else in a Batman book can be like mid, average, bad, mediocre. If they get Bruce's character right in it, like it is a godsend to me. And the most compelling thing in that book is Batman forgiving Joe Chill. And the final conversation between like the quote unquote real Joker and Bruce, when he's like, I concocted this whole plan so you would forgive your biggest pain, like the murder, the killer of your parents, so that I could be your biggest pain. And it's I think that moment is really good. I
don't like the Killing Joke in the book, but I will say
really
everything else
good.
I like.
Those bits are good, but I just can't stand Jason Todd in it. I don't like how they take his character. That annoys me. The
romance with him and Barbara is stupid. I'll never argue that.
Yeah, that just kills it for me. Everything with Barbara and Jason annoys me. I don't even like the concept of three Jokers either. I like where he ends up as a character. I don't like how they canonize out. Well, not canonize. It's non-canon, but like where it I don't like how it incorporates the Killing Joke origin story component to it. I don't like that at all.
Another beautiful addition.
I definitely don't like three Jokers.
Another
Another
addition from Joker year one is that three Jokers are still canon. It's just not
Jesus
the book.
Christ.
The book isn't. The book itself, titled Three Jokers, isn't canon. The idea that there have been three separate Jokers is still canon within DC. I don't know if the editorial acknowledges it, but as of Joker year one, that is what is said. So
it's so dumb.
I prefer what Grant Morrison did with Joker, where they just explain he changes personalities based off stuff like that. I think that's more that's more compelling.
I think that graphic novel, that explanation is perfect. You don't need anything else. It's simple, and it fits perfectly with Joker's character. He just changes how he acts. Perfect, simple. No need for anything else.
Which definitely brings me on to this part of this aspect of how Heath Ledger affects Joker in mainstream Batman stuff. Firstly, I want to point out so the main thing I do here, and I'm pretty sure it was the main thing in your video as well, is Joker's like sense of humor and the clown side of him isn't there as much anymore. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. What's funny is the Joker in Dark Knight's funny. Like, that's what I find so funny.
Yeah.
It's like he's very funny.
Oh no, yeah.
A lot of humor
You think
there.
you could just steal from us and just walk away? Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's great.
Or even just like I know like everyone that acts like, oh, it was improvised. Like, no, it's not. It was totally scripted. Where like he blows up the hospital and like he's like a moment of like, wait, what? That's it? Smacks the control and it blows up more. It's great. It's like small bits like that go such a long way, I feel like, for the character.
I think an aspect of the Joker and why he's such a great villain overall with this too is that I think that like when people say like, oh, where's the clown element? He's supposed to be funny, right? I do think of this. I think what makes Joker so good and useful for a writer is that there's no strict rule sets with him because Joker is so dynamic and he can change based off his own mood swings because he's just that level of crazy. So one moment he could be more of a trickster clown, but another he could just be a flat out sadist. So I do think like when people say like he needs to be more of the clown aspect, I don't really agree. I think it's based off what kind of story they want to tell and how effective it is.
No, 100%. And they are, and again, like with Joker in the film, you do get a sense throughout of his personality, what drives him. As a villain, it's perfect. There's never a second in that film where you don't get what the Joker wants, even if he's not saying it. There's always a clear motivation, a clear goal, a clear element of chaos, a clear puzzle at play, a clear misdirection. And again, it plays in with everything we've seen with Batman up to this point, and it plays as a good Joker story. It works. Joker works perfectly in this film series, in this film, I think. The problem is he's too good. So that everything else by comparison isn't as good as he is. And it's a shame because I think friggin' Harvey Dent is fantastic in The Dark Knight also. Like a great character arc, I think. Really works.
Yep.
I think Rachel kind of sucks as a character, but that's another discussion for another parties.
We agree.
Definitely. Yeah, we agree there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rachel is... I think...
I only liked her in Begins. I think that's the only one I actually kind of liked her in.
I think she's serviceable in Begins.
Yeah, I think Nolan in general struggles when he writes women in most of his movies. I feel like the majority of his female characters, they kind of feel a little bit like they're falling into tropes, a little too much like archetypes. I think as much. I like Anne Hathaway in general. I think she's a really good actress. I just think she's underwhelming as Catwoman. And it's funny because I when I first saw the movie, I liked her as Catwoman. And then every time I've revisited it, I've liked her less and less. And I think it's because she doesn't do anything. She really doesn't. Like, she kills Bane, sure. But, like, she doesn't really... She doesn't
But
have
she also
any...
gets Batman trapped.
Yeah,
To
she's
fight
Batman
Bane in the
trapped.
first fight.
Yeah, she's Batman trapped, but it almost doesn't feel like earned because Batman just walked into it. Like if she had pulled like a clever trap, I almost feel that would have worked better. But it's such a like overtly
She also made a
dull...
route for the police to start the war. Like she was the one who opened out a route for them, I believe, in the movie.
Yeah, but that almost feels like that's Batman's plan. You know, it feels like it's an extension of Batman's strategy. It doesn't feel like something she did on her own.
Well,
And
she grows into that. In the beginning of the movie, she has her own goals that are completely separate from Batman. She's trying to get the clean slate, trying to get out and start a fresh life after being a criminal for so long. And then once Bruce inspires her, she does eventually follow his lead and his plan.
But it just, I don't know. It just to me feels like when I think of Catwoman, even look at the previous films with Catwoman. You got Batman 66, which is a joke film. Much I love that film, but it is a bit of a joke film. You got Batman Returns and you got The Batman. And in Batman Returns and The Batman, it's unfair because those are really good Catwoman in general. I think they
all touch different aspects of Catwoman, and I think they're all really good in different ways. So I think Returns, her relation with Bruce in that movie is more so that they kind of bond over their shared trauma in a sense, and how they're very similar in a way. And then you get to the Dark Knight trilogy's version. I think they focus more on her more Robin Hood-esque character traits that she had, mainly in more of the 80s to 90s comics, where she's more doing it because she has a sense of justice. It's just different than Bruce. Because she says in the movie she only steals from people that she thinks has too much and don't give back enough. She's just Robin Hood essentially, which is I think is a neat trait with this version. This version's more out for herself, but she also has a sense of her own form of justice, and I think that's what makes this version interesting. And then we have the one in the Batman, which is more about I think it touches upon her family, her family legacy compared to Bruce's, and how they can relate to that, even though they're in different, classes.
Yeah. Not just that, but it's also a little more balanced of a character too. I also feel, unfortunately, with The Dark Knight Rises, it's impossible to divorce that from the political discourse in 2012 when it came out, the Occupy Wall Street protests, which I'm not sure if everyone watching this even remembers. Now that I think about it, because it really was kind of ineffectual. An idea of the 99% against the 1%, big class-conscious protests. When watching this, I remember there's a criticism of the film at the time too, The Dark Knight Rises, that it almost felt like Catwoman was a take that against the 99%, illustrating why, hey, maybe we do need rich people. Which I don't know if I buy necessarily. Oh yeah, I can see there's elements of that where it's it's almost making fun of the majority population for not feeling comfortable with the rich owning everything.
Yeah.
And the film then becomes but we got rid of the rich and now everything sucks actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, that's awful.
I kind of shut up about that during the watch party, because there's this idea of a supervillain that has a point, but it becomes mute, or it becomes null and void because the movie radicalizes them so far, and it's almost you shouldn't have this mindset because the bad guy has this mindset, when in all reality, which is why I like a lot of Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises, is that she calls out a lot of the class inequality that I feel Dark Knight didn't do, and I feel Rises didn't capitalize on as well. There's when her and Bruce are dancing or whatever in the masquerade party. What was it? She calls out that but you don't, as a billionaire, you don't really do shit. And Bruce, he does the oh, you'd be surprised, like, what people are hiding. And that's why I feel like she's a bit more self-aware than everybody else. But yeah, the movie like does the eat the rich thing, and then it doesn't, and then it like villainizes the eat the rich thing. It's like, it's stupid. I think
I think
that's
it's
really
funny because
problematic.
I think like Catwoman is like probably the character like most of us while watching were rooting for the most in that one, because like she's like not blatantly evil like Bane, but she has like more of a point than the other characters.
Yeah, and it's like, I also think it defeats the purpose of the entire trilogy up until this point. Like, we've been showing the entire time how the economy of Gotham was all screwed up. It's downtrodden, it's run down. The poor are exploited and they're vulnerable. So now we're like hating on the poor now? Like, what is this? It's like a complete inversion of Batman Begins. And I don't know. I just feel like a lot of my issues with The Dark Knight Rises have to do with the League of Shadows, yes. But the thematic issues I have tie in with how they present Catwoman and how she looks at everything and goes, oh yeah, the poor rule the city now. That's terrible. Like, what? Like, what? And the fact of the matter is that we've been seeing nothing but corruption from those in power, corrupt businessmen, corrupt police officers, corrupt systems of control. And now we're like pushing to reestablish a stronger system of control. And a police state is basically the best end of, like, there's a lot of discussion, and Batman fans I know get annoyed by this because it is so wrong, that Batman's a fascist. That's like the big criticism from those outside of the comic circles looking into it. Because they look at, like, say, Frank Miller and go, well, those are fascist tendencies, therefore mainstream Batman is like that, which is not the case. But this film kind of takes that in that direction. Like, it's basically saying, oh, hey, we need a strong police state authority system to maintain control of Gotham, when that wasn't the case in any of the other films. Like, it just...
Exactly. Like, one of the things that's touched upon is that Joe Chill's attorney that defends him says that he wasn't motivated by greed, but by desperation. Rachel talks about this as well. How they're basically in their own depression, and that's what the mob bosses are taking advantage of. So it's like, it's so weird how it's just like, oh, well, there's the two mob bosses were gone, so that means there's no crime anymore. Like, I don't understand how that works. Especially with all the drugs that have been put out in the streets because of Scarecrow. Like, he's been in the market because he's constantly selling these drugs for his fear toxin. So that just makes you wonder, okay, well, in the crime business, there would be competition. So did, like, nobody take advantage of that in the crime world? When Scarecrow was taken to prison, when the two mob bosses were taken to prison, there's a power vacuum there, and they just don't discuss it.
Yeah. Well, don't you know, if you get rid of the five crime bosses in the city, it means there's no crime anymore. Crime's ended.
Exactly.
no one ever commits a crime. And if you do, the entire police system will come down and send you to the most extreme prison in the entire city, which is Blackgate. You go like shoplifting, you give you an extra Killer Croc, basically.
Yeah, it's funny how I feel like Dark Knight Rises, I believe the term is lamp shading. Like, they kind of do that like multiple times in the movie. For example, I think either Gordon or that one like douchebag blonde like sergeant or lieutenant or whatever he is.
Sucks.
He's like
what are you talking about?
He's like I think actually Gordon says it during his speech in the beginning of the movie. He's like, because of the Dent Act, like, Gotham is nearly without crime now. Or sorry, the mayor says it. Okay, the mayor says it. He's like, now, no city is without crime. And that, I feel like that little line right there, like, is the movie trying to say, like, dance around, be like, hey, yeah, like, we put away all, like, the big major criminals and crime is super down. But we're, I guess we'll acknowledge that, like, maybe, like, crime wouldn't just magically disappear if you put away a bunch of mob bosses. And then they also do it, I think it's kind of to a lesser degree, they do it with John Blake, like Robin. Where, the part of the reason he becomes Batman at the end of the movie at least what the film implies, like the subtext of very two specific scenes, is he stops believing in like the systems, right? Like the military shoot at him when he's trying to get the kids across the bridge before the bomb goes off, and after he realizes that everybody's safe, he throws his badge into the water, and he also talks to Gordon about like like it's an injustice that people won't know who saved them, and obviously there's also just like the multiple moments which they don't address of how incompetent the cops are in this universe, like in this movie, like how Blake is telling them to investigate the sewers, and he's like, who let the blonde dude is like, who let this hothead rookie in here, and what is he talking about? We need to go after Batman. It's like, I feel like his character, part of the point of it is him trying to be like, kind of be like, guys, look, like, we're saying the system is corrupt, but
it's like tiptoeing around it, basically.
Yes, exactly.
And it sucks because like it's like you watch this and you go, okay, there are so many components here that should work, illustrating the corruption of the system of power, how all this power is built on a lie, basically. And that's one thing too about The Dark Knight and Nolan's filmography in general. A lot of his films are built on misdirection and deception. A lot of them are, from Inception to this to Oppenheimer, all of them. Not all of them. There's a couple exceptions here and there. I don't think Tenet had misdirection all that much there. I think the film was just confusing. But like The Dark Knight Rises almost seems to focus on the idea of what happens when the lie is exposed. You have Rachel's letter being revealed to Batman and Bruce, and like Bruce says, Alfred, go away, I never want to see you again for the rest of my life. Until I'm in Venice at the end of the film, coincidentally enough, whatever. But the Dentak thing, that's the Harvey Dent letter that Gordon wrote, that's revealed, and it affects Blake's arc, but then it doesn't, no one else seems to react to it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of comes and goes. And like a lot of elements.
I mean, in fairness to criminals, do react to it at least.
Yeah, but they were gonna do that anyway. It's like they were already free.
No,
like,
yeah.
Like, what are they gonna do? Is Bane gonna like not let them out? At that point, it's like a formality. It's not even like a real need to break these guys out. Because Bane keeps talking about all the politics of the situation, but it's like he doesn't really mean any of that. It's all surface level bullshit. So it's like it doesn't have any meaningful impact on the plot or characters. They just kind of hear it and then they process it and they move on. And like it feels more like them blowing up the bridges to keep everyone from leaving Gotham is what drives Robin to be the new Batman. But like, also, why couldn't it just be Tim Drake? Like, why couldn't it just be Tim Drake? I don't know. That's a small nitpick. I just hate that whole. Oh,
I think it's really funny
Robin.
that his actual name is Robin when Robin's like a girl's name. I think that's really funny.
It's me could be Robin Williams, but like even then, it's like I think of Robin from Stardew Valley, Nico Robin from One Piece. But yeah, basically, in terms of like physical people's names.
Yeah,
but
he's kind of. Comic Legend said that the John Blake character is a Robin. What was it, like a palette or like a? He's got like
Robin
a Robin tasting. That's what it was. A Robin tasting. He's picking, like his character is picking and pulling from like a bunch of different Robins. It's like, okay, he's a cop. Okay, Chuck Dixon, Dick Grayson. Oh, he's an orphan. Okay, well, I mean, I guess if you want to say Jason Todd. Oh, he found out Batman's identity through like. Well, I'm not going to say through detective work. He found out Batman's identity. Okay, Tim Drake. It's like, okay, now he's rolled up into this big ball, and he's like, oh, yeah, he's the next Batman. Okay.
He made
It's a Robin cuisine, but they forgot to cook it.
Well, he made prolonged eye contact with Bruce Wayne. He figured out it was Batman.
Yeah.
You can figure out Bruce Wayne's Batman if you have depression.
Yeah, no, that's superpower now. It's like the one Predator movie where it's autism is a superpower. No, this time it's depression. If you feel sad, you're an orphan. Yeah, no, I can tell. I can figure it out. You're Batman.
If you feel sad, you're Batman. You can save the city.
Basically, you don't need Xanax. You need to just need dress up in a bat suit and beat up criminals. I'm gonna pause everyone right now. I do want to play some super chats because they've been piling up a little bit. If that's okay with everyone.
I did want to ask: is there a way to like hear them, or should I just like look at your stream to hear them, or is there?
You can do that. I gotta take
okay.
a brief call real quick, so
Go for it.
yeah, I'll keep it running in the background while you do that.
Okay, all good.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we bat shark repellent, okay? And
Escape
next
farming
couple ones.
content.
Yeah, basically. Here we go. All right, here we go. Trifuse. Yeah, that would have been fun if Rap hasn't sparkled in the films. Yeah, Clark was a little smarter in Superman than the Batman was in this film. Yeah, Heath Ledger's passing changed the plans entirely. That's the reality of it, sadly. Giga Chad Raw would be really fun, I'm not gonna lie. That'd be pretty cool.
Like that Superman episode where he gets
It'd be so great. You kidding? Love that. Ra's all buff. Yeah, it's basically Bane right there. I think pretty good if they all like Arkham Knight. Scarecrow's great in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
His voice was the best part of the movie. I don't know if the character was. His voice was, though. I mean, people love the Joker too, but Heath Ledger's performance is the part that people really resonated at that time.
Great actor.
I like the Harley Quinn show. I think it's really good. It's a lot of fun.
Don't tell SK.
Yeah, right. He was a murder clown free code, but I think he got a little more theatrical as time went on. Yeah, that's my issue with Joker fighting other heroes too, right there. He is a glass cannon. Not even a glass cannon, a paperweight. I personally like it. I know everyone else has very strong feelings on Spider-Man 2, but I like that element with Cleese Cassidy. Yes, I agree with that. Emperor Joker had a great resolution. That was really great. I just don't like everything that led up to it as much.
I'll be right back. I need to fix something on my computer.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
That's a good one. I was going to say Kissed by a Rose, but with Batman Forever, but I can't use those songs. Okay, that'd be fun. That's a tough game. Yep. Friedkin's Cruising and The Dark Knight. That's a combination I did not expect. But what about like Gladiator? That has more men on screen at once. Or Spartacus. Hell, the show, what was it? The show Spartacus has a lot of men on screen at the same time, and they're mostly like, I don't know, like gladiators and like Roman Cathedral and all that. Okay, we have lost comic legend here.
I think he just had to fix something on his computer. I don't know.
That's fair. Weird. That's fair. Yeah, there was a few issues with YouTube apparently. Apparently YouTube's down for some people, which is annoying. Oh. It's all up on my end, but I guess it's like a regional outage. I don't know. The stream's still going, so the back end's totally fine. It's just the front end, I guess, the site's having issues. Like I'm flipping on the back end right now. Everything's good here, but I guess it's just the front end, which I guess sucks for some people, but we still have a lot of people on stream, so it all works out. Also, looking at some people and just looking in chat for a few comments here. Okay, super chat come in. Let me let that play real quick. We're waiting for him to come back. Oh yes, yeah, love this. Yeah, no, I do love that crossover. It's like, wait a second, you're a Nazi? Like, of course. I mean, I may be a lunatic, but I'm an American lunatic. The great, like, little crossover gags, even though it's like should be obvious from everything. That being said, though, the best Red Skull villain team up remains Red Skull and Magneto. I do love how they resolve their differences and learn to work together and never. I'm kidding, of course. Looking at chat, see if anyone else has any more comments. There's a couple of things I do want to bring up about the movies once everyone's like not missing in action. But one thing I do want to bring up, apparently it's SK's fault that YouTube's homepage is down, and since he is missing in action right now, we'll hold him accountable for that. And never tell him that we are doing that. Yeah, it's just natural. But he's not here to defend himself. That's the only way to blame it on him.
I did.
Sorry,
oh no, I did. I just want to say, just until everybody gets back, there was something I like desperately wanted to bring up. That's not necessary. That's not like fully relevant to like the Nolan trilogy, but it is Batman related. I have a bone to pick with your hero like who's the. Like you count how many supervillains are redeemed by.
Oh yeah, no, that was. I'm sure there's a lot I missed on that one.
No, I remember your stipulation was like, oh, like a major villain. I did. Well, I just figured like you might not have like known about the example, like or like some instances. But for Batman, you missed 7 super important characters.
Oh my god. Okay, lay it on me. Tell me my
see.
shortcomings. Let's do it.
I gotta. Oh, I'm just like messing. Like I think it's really interesting how people talk about like the like you know, comic fans will talk about like the status quo never changing, when it's like there are elements where I agree, but at the same time there's like stuff where we can like be like, oh, this is not like how it is. This is against the status quo. So a couple. I think it was interesting that you brought up Damian and Cassandra Cain, but not Azrael, because Azrael was programmed at birth to be a vengeful assassin, right?
You know what? You're right. That is a huge oversight. That was it. You know, that you're saying like, wait, shit.
This is just really an excuse so I could talk about like unknown Batman moments. That's all this is.
Hell yeah, go for it, please. I will never say no to that.
So, Bane has been redeemed twice. I don't know if the first time is canon, but obviously he joined the Secret Six, and I think there was this moment where he saved a parent, and he credited Batman for saving him.
I was debating mentioning Secret Six. I was debating including Secret Six, but I felt that was too distant from Batman to credit to him in that video. But I was considering
I'll give you a better one. Current continuity in Joshua Williamson's Batman and Robin run. So I don't know if are you aware of City of Bane or like Tom King's run, like what Bane does or no?
Yeah, I've read enough of Tom King's run to not love it, but
yeah, it's not good. It's not great.
I am right now working on a massive anti-Tom Kane video that I've been gradually tinkering at for the last like 2 months.
I'm getting my popcorn ready.
It's mainly on his Wonder Woman run. Mainly his Wonder Woman run, which I have a lot of issues with. I just hate everything about that run so far. I've actually reached out to other comic creators asking, do you like this? Can you explain to me why you like it so I don't come across as too much of a dick?
Yeah, I think the only good issue in that entire run is where Superman and Wonder Woman go shopping for a birthday present for Batman. I think that issue is pretty good.
I like that issue a lot. I really dug that because it's a nice slice of life. It's Diana and Superman for the most part. It's all the alien crap going on in that mall. I like that stuff. It's fun. She actually talks like a human being and not like a fucking like, no thank you to every single.
Oh God. Mouseman have ears. Mouseman knows.
If I gotta read another fucking no thank you in that comic, I'm gonna fucking throw something. Like, just talk like a human being, Diana. Just talk like a normal person.
Are you not excited for Tom King, Diana to team up with her industry plant daughter from the future so they can fight the industry plant villain matriarch? who wields a legion of superheroes and a Green Lantern ring.
You
Yeah,
know,
so excited.
I'm not particularly excited
she
for that,
fell in love
actually.
with
You know,
you.
shockingly.
I did
After that-
drop it. So I read until issue 29, which is the second most recent issue, and then I dropped the book because I couldn't. But mainly just honestly, the main reason was to save money. But there is like an undoubted aspect of like Daniel Siempre's art is like the greatest thing ever. I just wish he was with a better writer.
The art's fantastic in that and Absolute Wonder Woman. They're both excellent art, but
Yeah.
like. I just one's a good story, one's not. You can tell
Yeah,
one is
absolutely.
written with a
Yeah.
love, like one is written with a clear love of the character, and then the other one's written by Tom King.
Yeah.
It's like it just feels like he just doesn't like Wonder Woman. You
Well,
read like the Greg
well-
Rucka or the Gail Simone run of Wonder Woman, you get like a real sense these writers love this character. Like they, on a fundamental level, get it and they love her. This feels like he just doesn't like her like at all.
I'm back.
Well,
Doesn't like
it's
who?
so weird. He like
Oh, not you. Oh, SK, you destroyed YouTube, by the way. I hope you know
Yeah.
that.
Wait,
You
what?
ruined YouTube.
Oh, I
Apparently
destroyed
you killed
YouTube. Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently the site crashed while you were gone. Like the whole
Really?
website.
Okay.
Well, the homepage anyway, apparently. But
Oh,
you could-
that's
you
why
left
I
it.
had to. I thought that was just me. That's why I restarted my computer and left.
No, it's not you. The whole site for certain locations, like not. This page is if you loaded this page and never clicked off, you're fine. It's just the homepage loading crashed apparently.
It'd be terminated already if it were up
Damn
to
you,
me.
YouTube.
Yeah. But the homepage is
Speaking-
the back end's fine, so it's not the site. It's just the
Okay.
homepage, I guess, isn't loading.
Thank goodness, yeah.
So what are
I
we
wa- I
on
wanna
now?
say-
we
Oh,
talked
we're
about
on-
comics.
We're on writing
We
about
got
women.
sidetracked.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
basically. Oh,
'Cause what I
actually,
was-
actually, there was one super chat that I thought was very funny, and there's a couple of other ones that have come in since. But if you could assign a pop song to the various Batman movies that's not already on the soundtrack, what would they be? You can't do like "Kissed by a Rose" by Seal for Batman Forever. He has to be like a unique song.
here we go. Batman vs Superman: Bad Blood by Taylor Swift. I
Yes.
totally stole that. I totally stole that from How It Should Have Ended because they made like a parody music video for like BVS. It's so stupid.
It still works though. It's not a bad
yeah,
choice.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah,
One of the things I wanna-
that's. I feel that's a question for those who like listen to pop music, and I feel like none of us listen to enough pop music to answer that question effectively. Like I listen to mainly the Nightwish. I don't listen to like.
I have
If
5
it's on the
pings
radio,
in my
it's not
server
really-
blaming me for YouTube crashing. That's great.
It is
Yeah.
SK's fault.
Well, it's your fault. Clearly, it happened when you stepped away from the computer, so it must be your fault. That's a lot. That's how things work.
YouTube server.
And the reason SK exists is because The Last Jedi happened. Because
Listen, I'd like to address these allegations, but at least for now, I'd like to practice my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights.
Oh, fuck
Oh,
off.
the 14th as well, huh? At the same time. Well, that means you
Of course
lose your
you
right to
quote
be
him.
imprison you. So,
He was the original anomaly SK.
yeah, seriously.
All right, so yeah.
But I do
shifting
want
back
to comment on something real quick.
Go ahead.
I do want to comment on something real quick about Tom King. I think something I've noticed about his writing is like, I feel like he does this with mainly women. He always writes them so vapid and emotionless all the time, and I don't understand why. Like, it feels like they're just dead inside.
His decision.
Like, haven't you guys ever noticed that?
The
I
writing
think it was
for
Batman
Selena.
1000, right? The issue where like you have like Barbara basically saying like, "Have you kissed Dick Grayson?" Like that, you
Oh
know.
God.
It's like to the fucking lesbian that you know is a lesbian. Like I've kissed Dick Grayson. That means I fought wars basically. Like some shit like that. I forget the exact line.
It sucks
But it's
because
like,
the
what
message
is
of that
this?
the message of that short story, or like not the message, but like the sentiment behind it is really sweet because they're all taking a family photo to leave at Alfred's grave, or sorry, not Alfred's grave, excuse me, to leave at the grave of the Waynes, which is really cool. But it's just Tom King has like fan fiction level writing.
Especially
Yeah.
for his women. The women characters are always dead inside. They're always, yeah, I totally went through that. Anyways, I'm like, what What is
Or,
that
like,
dialogue?
why is Diana bringing her newborn daughter to the to Mouse Man's island or to his country? That makes literally like she literally almost dies. Like
Epstein's Island?
She almost
That's an
drowns.
appeal to
She
reality,
almost,
Batnick.
she
That is
What?
appeal to reality.
that's
I
appeal to
reject this
reality.
premise.
All right, whatever.
No,
I did.
I just hate this fucking run. I really
Oh
do.
yeah, I'm surprised it's doing well sales wise.
Yeah, I guess because it is Tom King, and that does he has a intense fan base. Like his fans are a little scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're talking to one right now.
Exactly.
Hey, shut up.
I mean, you can kill
The
YouTube,
biggest
and
Tom
it's
King fan
terrifying.
is here
Your
right now.
power,
His name's
apparently.
Batman.
Okay, wait. I just want to clarify. I will defend a chunk of his Batman run. I think Cold Days is an excellent story, and I think issue 80, I want to say, is one of my favorite like Batman story. Or my favorites. Like it's part of City of Bane. City of Bane sucks, but that singular issue where Alfred is like he's basically talking to Bruce and leaving him kind of like a final will is really beautiful, and it like gets me emotional every time. Because he's
But then you
literally just
realize that
talking
Bane
about-
is an insecure rage baby.
Yeah, basically. Also, I'll give you this Supergirl Women of Tomorrow. That's pretty good. It's a good comic. You got
I
one.
have not read it, unfortunately.
You
Yeah.
got one.
Yeah.
I remember
Well, I
his
mean, everyone
Mr.
said-
Miracle being really good. I liked his Mr. Miracle from the bits I've read of that.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I've
was
heard
good
it
too.
from like
That was good
actual.
too.
I've heard that from actual like New Gods fans that like he actually does not write a very good set of New Gods. I don't know how true that is. I'm not super invested in, or I'm not invested at all in that lore yet. But that's just what I've heard. So take it with a grain of salt, obviously.
New Gods is another blind spot for me. That and like Blue Beetle, I think are like the two big blind spots in DC for me. It could be worse though. It could be Emerald Fennell's Zatanna that never came out. But you know, have you heard about that?
Which one?
Not a comic, but the movie. There was going to be
Okay.
a movie version of Zatanna, and the director was going to be Emerald Fennell. Do you know who Emerald Fennell is?
I do not know who that is.
Have you been to the movie theaters this weekend?
No.
So she's the director who did 3 movies so far. Promising Young Women, which I think is a good movie. Not great, but good.
Oh, did she do Wuthering Heights?
She's doing Wuthering Heights and she did Saltburn, yeah. So the thread of those movies is a lot of freakish sex shit. God, I have to rant about this. The Wuthering Heights movie fucking sucked. That was my spouse and I were like, "Oh, what's a good movie to watch this weekend?" Oh, Wuthering Heights. That looks like a movie that kind of looks good for Valentine's Day. And we both read the book because we're both like book nerds. Oh, sorry, not my mic there. We're both like into books. And we're like, oh, the book's like this gothic tragedy. It's full of abuse. It's disturbing. It's more like Edgar Allan Poe than like romantic. But it's the closest we can get to romance. So why not? We go in, and the first half's like, it opens up before, and he opens up with like the sound of someone like wheezing, and it sounds like almost like springs going up and down. So you're thinking like, oh, we're gonna open up to a sex scene, and he's gonna be moaning, and it's a bed string. But no, it's actually someone being hung.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And as he's being hung, there is a nun clearly in the front who's like looks expect to orgasm, looking at this guy hanging. And then they cut to the man's erect, under his clothing. And that's how the movie opens up. There is a scene in this movie where Margot Robbie's character is brought in by her new husband to her bedroom, and the walls are painted flesh tone. But not just flesh tone, they have her veins and freckles on the wall. Like it's skin painted walls, and that's her bedroom. It's just completely like little veins on the wall. Like, what the fuck is this?
Sounds worse than I figured it would be.
Oh, but I haven't told you the worst part yet. So, and none of you guys are gonna see this movie, so I'll just tell you what happens, because it's this bit's like the part where I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking? So there's a major part in the book where Heathcliff marries another woman to kind of get back at Charlotte, who's like the woman he really loves. And like in the book, he's horribly abusive. He tortures this woman almost to take out his aggression towards Charlotte rejecting him on this innocent young woman who's like idealistic and believes in love and all that. In the movie version, they make it so she's totally into it. And there's a scene where and the last scene with this character is she is hooked up to a dog collar to a cold fireplace and is barking and woofing on all fours. And that's just how we leave this character. Like, she's barely totally into being degraded and horribly by this abusive, terrible person. So it's not even abuse. She's into it.
And this isn't in the original? This isn't in the original book?
No, it's not. She's abused.
That's so weird. Why would they add it?
Because Emerald Fennell is a kinky freak. I don't know what to tell you. Kink shame, but
she wanted to make a new 50 Shades of Grey.
Basically, yeah. Like, there's no sex overtly in the book. It's all like repression. It's Victorian era England. They're all repressed, and it's like this movie. It's all sex. Like half the movie is just boring sex scenes. It's not even good sex scenes. They're boring sex scenes. It's like it's not even like it's well shot, but it's like okay. There's a scene where a person like gets all into bondage with horse whips and all that, and the setup is 5 minutes long. The sex is 3 seconds long. It's been what times. Okay. This movie's fucking weird. Anyway, back to Batman. I'm sorry.
I did. Okay.
This has been on my mind since the weekend. It's like, what is this shit?
Before we go back to the Dark Knight trilogy, I just want to list off the rest of the villains you missed really quick.
Yes,
I
please go.
really just want to. Okay. We talked about Azrael.
Hold me to task. Take me to task on this one.
Azrael.
Yes.
Bane. So Bane, after Tom King's run, he escaped from Arkham, and I think he finds out he has a daughter. Her name's Vengeance. It happens in the James Tynion's Joker run, and essentially in Joshua Williamson's Batman and Robin run, Bruce and Damian find him on I think it's called Dinosaur Island. I could be wrong, but it was an island that had dinosaurs on it. And Bane basically says he'll turn himself in, like he feels awful for what he did after like sort of finding like compassion for knowing he has a child himself. So he turns himself in, and he's in prison now. And as much as Hush 2 sucks, he does very willingly help Damian help Bruce in that book. And then Ghostmaker, another James Tynion character. He was going to kill Clown Hunter and Harley, and then Bruce convinced him not to, and he ended up leading Batman Incorporated. Man-Bat joined Justice League Dark alongside Wonder Woman and Zatanna. He does go back to villainy. But it's more of a Lizard situation, where I was gonna say he's not in control of himself.
Even like older in the comics, he would have that kind of same dynamic too. Back in like the 2000s, I felt. Yeah. Crud. That's an obvious one. Yeah, that one's obvious. Crud.
Mr. Freeze.
I remember that one.
Mr. Freeze. So in Peter J. Tomasi's run, which is the issue I sent in the chat.
Wait, I didn't count Mr. Freeze?
No, I don't think. I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Wow. Because I thought I included him. That's so strange. Okay.
But
that's a fair point.
And you could totally be right. But two things. So in Batman One Bad Day, which is a very mixed bag of a big Batman event. So Mr. Freeze ends up. His whole goal is to be like this incredible scientist. He does not give a fuck about Nora. Take issue with how that retcon with however you want.
I'm not a fan of that retcon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that story's canon, but at the end of it, he celebrates that Bruce basically, he took his cryogenic technology and he gave it to the world. And it helped with like being able to transport vaccines from different countries. So he, at the end of it, he's like making a snow angel in Arkham because he's super happy that he was able to like help the world. But more importantly, in Ram V's Detective Comics run, he actively helps Batman stop the Orgum family multiple times. He does end up, he is doing it more out of self-interest, but I think it's interesting to note that he actively pursues like to relate to Bruce. Like I'm sure, I think a lot of people like might know the panel I'm talking about, but it's basically where Freeze is like, I realized it, Gotham is your Nora, and it's this really beautiful art. So he helps the Bat family like stop this crazy ancient family from brainwashing and taking over Gotham. So Freeze, you could dance around if you want. It doesn't really matter to me. The two most important ones I feel are the most interesting are Talia and Ra's al Ghul. So in Joshua Williamson's Robin run, his Damian Wayne Robin run, which is really good. Everybody and their mom should read it. Damian, so Ra's realizes that I think the Lazarus Pits stop working on him, and so he's starting to like realize his own mortality. And Damian has like this huge long conversation with him about like the both of their views on life and like nature. And I don't remember the exact conclusion of the conversation, but Ra's is like, okay, I'm on a timer, like my time is almost up on this planet. I want to spend it leaving behind a good legacy for both the world and for my grandson. And this leads to the end. So he turns himself into I think the United Nations, unfortunately, and he wants to give like Lazarus to the world to use for like medical purposes. Unfortunately, he does get assassinated, like Deathstroke, like a quote unquote Deathstroke. I won't spoil who actually did it, but quote unquote Deathstroke kills him, which leads to like this huge war between Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke, and the League of Shadows, Deathstroke Incorporated, and all this stuff. The point being is that Damian, because of Batman's teachings, because of what he bestowed upon Damian, that led to the redemption of both Ra's and Talia. And Talia is now kind of like an outer circle Bat family member. Again, she also helped Bruce during Ram V's run, and she hasn't really done anything evil since. Ra's is still dead. So, anyways,
yeah,
little
splurge.
Little splurge. That's, I just wanted to bring that up. Otherwise I really like that video, like the premise of the video. I just was like, oh, there's a couple you forgot. That's it.
I feel like that video needed another like writer to double check the script. I feel like that one, like that's one like in hindsight, like I wish I got like more people to look at it to make sure I wasn't missing anyone, because it's like so many.
It's hard to. I mean, sorry, it's not hard.
It's hard to remember everyone.
It's hard to get all of that right, because most of what I listed is like modern comics, and I feel like a lot of people don't really keep up with like the modern like they're not reading issue by issue. It's more like they're just taking a peek into like, oh, like did you hear this and this happened at the Batman issue? Like nobody's really talking about that. Nora, that Freeze and Batman were successful in saving Nora, and now she's an evil supervillain called Mrs. Freeze or Miss something like that, and she's now worse than Victor. Yeah,
I love how absurd that is. Like, if you really think about it, like, no, the innocent maiden who he does everything for, now she's worse than he is.
Yeah.
Fucking comics, man. But no, you're right. And the thing also is, you look at it from the perspective of like, you're trying to remember every single major character. You're trying to remember like everyone, and like you're gonna miss a bunch because you're trying to look at everything overview, big picture stuff, and not like giving every hero the time they deserve to find home, examine them.
I definitely couldn't. Yeah, I definitely couldn't I couldn't do the same thing with like Superman or Spider-Man. As much as I love them, they're definitely not in like my wheelhouse yet. Still reading through them and like learning more about them. I'm just like
Spider-Man is peak in the comics.
I don't disagree on that one. But another one I missed was Black Manta. That was one I remembered actually with oddly Noah's most recent video. I was doing I was reviewing his script, and I'd forgotten about the autism storyline with Black Manta, where he's autistic and they cure his autism, and that makes him a good guy.
No way.
What the hell?
I'd forgotten that.
That's horrid.
Oh, it is. It's bad. Apparently they sent him to Arkham Asylum to give him autism treatment, essentially, which is like, what is this? And he didn't know what to do, how to treat autism, so they just tortured him. And like they cure his autism, and it's like, oh, actually now I'm all good now. I'm like, why?
That reminds me.
Is this the Autism Act?
It's like Black Manta's like mini series. I think it's like issue 8 or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It reminds me of Paul Dini having Batman, like after he defeats Ra's al Ghul, he keeps him in Arkham and he feeds him so many pills to keep him like comatose and incoherent. It's like, okay, I get Paul Dini's a great writer, but that was the one Batman decision I was like, what's going on there? Why? I feel like that's a little too
That feels
intense for
dark.
Batman.
That feels
Yeah,
cruel, actually. It
yeah,
feels like that feels a little much. That's like something more Punisher would do than not even Punisher.
yeah.
Punisher just shoot him in the head. Punisher just shoot him like he comes out of Lazarus pit every time he shoots him in the head, makes him go back down, and shoots him again.
But I'm just so
Repeatedly.
like hyper focused on Batman's my favorite fictional like thing ever, like character, property, story, whatever. So it's just like I really like and I love his morality, right? So seeing like how that like has like a spider web effect like in the like the mythos, right? It's like you do not redeem Ra's al Ghul unless you inspire Damian Wayne to adopt the methodology of Batman and become so devout to the mission, right? Like I always say that the biggest D1 Glazers of the Bat family are Damian, Cassandra Cain, and Azrael. Like they're the ones who, like almost no matter what, they will stick by Bruce's side. Like Damian, I don't think Damian's ever gone against Bruce. Well, I mean, like clashing his father and son, yes, but like look at a story like Gotham War, literally the only character to stick by him. So
Yeah, because it's like they're the biggest recipients of the benefits of Batman's teachings and methodology. Like they're the ones who gained the most from it all. I think in many ways.
Yeah, they gained new purpose and they gained a life. Damian goes to like high school and he wants to be, or he doesn't want to be, but he's a really good artist and he writes his own manga. And now in the comics, he has some of the best development in the Bat family outside of like Bruce and Dick. He wants to be a doctor like Thomas Wayne was, and it's like that's his current arc that just ended in Kennedy Johnson's Batman and Robin run. It's really beautiful stuff. Like modern Batman did a pretty good job.
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I was in college, my roommate is a huge Damian Wayne fan. Love Damian Wayne. And it's not like what the fuck are you talking about? Damian Wayne, he sucks. Like,
yeah.
I was thinking like the first couple issues with him with Grant Morrison. I'm like thinking, like whiny little annoying kid, like kind of abrasive, kind of. But no, when you read his full arc, it's profoundly beautiful. It's incredible stuff.
Like Batman, I think it's Born to Kill in Peter J. Tomasi's New 52 run is one of my all-time favorite Batman stories because it's such a really good this is like Batman with post-crisis character development in mind. Like I know New 52 is supposed to be a reboot, but Court of Owls, like Scott Snyder's full run outside of Zero Year because it's a prequel story basically.
Yeah.
It incorporates so that and Peter J. Tomasi's Batman and Robin run, they carry over post-crisis Bruce's where he's at in his mind. Like in that story in Batman and Robin Born to Kill, Bruce says he is over the death of his parents. He is more interested in celebrating their life. Like he has no thrive. He doesn't want to seek vengeance. Like he's all about justice. He's all about compassion. And he's just like a fully formed parent in that. And it's just like, how can he bestow that upon Damian? And it's just such a really good exploration of Batman's morality.
I love how that's one thing I love about comics. When it's done well, you can see these characters growing and expanding and developing over time in ways that's compelling and profound. Whereas, I mean, that's one thing I don't care about Marvel's current runs right recently, where a lot of these characters feel like they're spinning their wheels going backwards as opposed to going forwards. But DC is doing something right, even if they get stuff with the Tom King one, even if you get stuff with the Tom King Wonder Woman run. And it's always funny because it's like a cycle, right? Like when DC's up, Marvel's down, and Marvel's up, DC's down. It always feels there's like a seesaw effect. I feel like
unless it's the 80s, then like both of them were pretty good.
Yeah, the 80s were exceptional. I feel like, and even then, not everything in the 80s, but a lot of it certainly.
It was more balanced between the two.
I think back to Secret Wars 2, though. I think back to Secret Wars 2. Was that 80s Secret Wars 2? Or was that early 90s? I always forget.
I
would have to check that out. I would have to.
Yeah. I'm not confident in saying that's 80s. I think it's 80s, but I'm not 100% confident in that one. Let me double check that one because that comic sucked. That was 85. Yeah, that was 85. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. Wow,
Smack
really?
dab in the middle.
Like
But,
the first Secret Wars was so popular.
Oh yeah, no, but it's like bad sequel syndrome. It's like just
Yeah.
not great. But again, it happens. It happens. Am I Spider-Man? No, I'm not Spider-Man. I just saw the comments asking that. No, I'm not. I'm not actually Spider-Man. SK might be Spider-Man though.
We are who we choose to be, you know.
Yeah.
Well, right now he has the
Spider-Man.
PFP of a Spider-Man that supports ice. Am I right, SK?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
Oh,
off.
God. Jesus Christ. I bet,
Go back to your universe.
God.
Go back to your universe, literally.
What's the solid JJ? You ever seen the solid JJ? He did a recent one with Mr. Fantastic, the League of Reeds, where it's like all the Reeds are Nazis.
Oh, what the
The
fuck?
universe with the Nazis in World War II.
That's crazy.
And like, like how'd you pilot in space? Oh, I had my friend Ben. Like, Ben, who's Ben? Oh, my friend Ben. He's you have to have a Ben in your universe. He's like tall, broad. Oh,
That's funny.
it's some funny stuff. Okay, we have definitely fallen off the track of the Dark Knight, but that's fine. That's what I expected at this point. I feel like we've gone on for a bit. Do you want to have some closing thoughts on this? Do you have any other things about Dark Knight you want to mention before we wrap things up?
Well, like, I guess something about the video that I think we touched upon when we were watching it was that a lot of the examples that you pull are like things that we can agree on for a good portion of, but I think like a lot of the video didn't fully, I guess, flesh out how it ruins like modern Batman. Like some of it is like, okay, so I agree with this like as an issue individually in like the Nolan trilogy, but like it doesn't really extend to how it affects like other pieces of media, if that makes sense. It's been a bit since I've gone through the whole thing. I think it's kind of more interesting to talk about like just the movies themselves. But I guess like where would you see it, I guess, bleeding into modern Batman content?
I would say the biggest effect really was the movies, more so than the comics. I think you get echoes of a refusal to engage with the more fantastical elements on film. And you see that with even, obviously, I'd say a lot of Jared Leto's character is an echo of what happened with Heath Ledger's Joker. I feel like the popularity of Frank Miller storylines on film, that carries through with Zack Snyder again. Though Snyder, I feel like, would always reference Frank Miller no matter what. I do feel with the recent Joker movies, that is also in that same hyper-realistic, grounded perspective that the initial the Dark Knight films did. But even like the concept of the Joker in his role in the story, I do feel that's more an extension of the themes of the Dark Knight with the Joker. The idea of him being this grounded figure who's anarchy and against the establishment in that sense. Yes, Joker is anti-establishment, but not as a guy who starts a movement the same way that Arthur Fleck in Joker does.
I don't think he actually cares would be my thing with Joker.
That too. Well, that too. I'm not even talking about the character's emotional drive. He clearly doesn't. And of course in Joker 2 that destroys him ultimately. But that's the meta narrative of the film, right?
Oh, no, I was talking about Joker overall as a character, not the movie.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about the movie. I'm talking specifically the movie Joker, which is a different conversation. It's a very different one. And again, we mentioned before in the conversation here, I think the combination of, and you, of course, mentioned Killing Joke, that's important to the conversation as well, but I think with the more recent slate of Joker stories in the comics, I do feel like the Brian Azzarello Joker comic, The Dark Knight, and Death of the Family, as well as the one issue where before that he got his face sliced off, I feel that did kind of tint more modern Joker stories to be more serious, more grim, more dark. That said, of course, the biggest influence from modern Batman, I feel like, is the Scott Snyder and Tom King runs. You know, those are the big ones, I think, that really had a lot of impact on where they went with the character recently. In that sense, The Dark Knight has much less of an impact.
Okay.
I do think, though, that in terms of adaptation, every adaptation, to some extent, has a shade of Nolan in there somewhere, either as kind of following the footsteps of Nolan or a response to get away from what Nolan did. You know what I mean? Like it's either.
I definitely don't agree with that.
That's fair. That's fair. What do you disagree with in that one?
So, like every adaptation, or but you said most? Just make sure
you know what? Let me rephrase it. Say most. All is too extreme, especially as time goes on. That influence kind of does fizzle. Because I would say a better phrasing of it would be I think about 10 years after The Dark Knight Rises would be better. That range, I think, is more in conversation for the most part. I think the biggest exception that would be Beware the Batman. But even stuff like Batman Brave and the Bold, it's a complete counter argument to that. You know, it's a complete push against what Nolan's doing. At that same time, you know, it's overlapping with Nolan's films, but it's in complete opposition to the ideas it's presenting, going back to the old school Silver Age, more fun, whimsical kind of stuff, or even Bronze Age, really.
I think what I would say for adaptations is, especially in the modern day, and even during those movies, there's a lot of Batman content that I think flat out take almost nothing to, just absolutely nothing from the Nolan trilogy. Like, for example, I think at least the first 3 Arkham games, because I know you could make an argument with Knight because it's slightly more militarized, but with the first 3, I think those are definitely just more adult-oriented versions of like BTAS, and I think that's like the direction they were definitely going. I don't really see any Nolan influences in, let's say, Arkham City.
I would say some of the combat sequences and set pieces are kind of Nolan inspired, but I would argue Arkham is probably one of the bigger exceptions. And Arkham obviously is a huge influence too. I do think as it went on, though, became more Nolan inspired. But I think for City and for Asylum, much less so. Origins, I don't think is even in the conversation. Origins is kind of is barely in the conversation, I feel like, but that too, I feel feels a little more Nolan inspired.
I think the most I can think of for Origins is just that Bane is a prevalent villain.
Yeah, that, and I feel like most of the villains in that one are more grounded in Origins.
I don't know about that, because he does fight like a super soldier, a crocodile monster guy, a guy with a flying flamethrower, and flying around with a flamethrower and a jetpack.
Oh, that's not as unrealistic as other characters in the Arkhamverse, to be fair. I mean, he's not.
I guess so, but
yeah,
it's still more out there than I think what Nolan would have allowed in this movie.
Yeah,
I don't think Firefly would be able to fly, for example.
Well, and again, you gotta keep in mind, I'm not saying it's 1-to-1. I'm saying it's more aligned. So that you're not going to get a 1-to-1 exactly, but you're going to see components that are kind of similar.
I think it's interesting, even visually. It's well, you already brought it up, Comic Legend, but Batman's suit in Arkham Knight. But in Origins, even his suit has obviously there's a narrative reason for it, but he's got more padding, and there's just more lines going on generally, and it's you gotta wonder, is that do you think that's taken from the Dark Knight suit that's just chock full of lines and looks like this not a mech suit, but super mechanical?
I think it was more inspired by the New 52 look.
I'd have to think on that.
It feels more New 52 than exactly Nolan, because Nolan's more it's flat out militarist. I wouldn't say it's militaristic looking in Origins. I think the suit is just more armored-esque, if you know what I mean. It doesn't look like super practical military gear. It looks more like a Batman suit that's overcompensating because he's earlier in his career with a lot of lines and stuff. Very New 52-esque.
It gives me the vibe of the New 52 one, but with less of the, I guess, contrast in its colors.
But then the question also becomes, how much is New 52 aesthetics inspired by the Dark Knight's aesthetics as well? You know, like that's a factor too. Like the Dark Knight,
that's a good point.
Aesthetics probably inspired some of the artists for New 52. I haven't read any interviews recently with that, so I could be like mistaken. But I feel like the fact that Marvel developed a different kind of aesthetic too around that same time, I feel like it's hard not to look at what Marvel was doing in the MCU and what Nolan was doing with his trilogy and not see some ripple effect of that influencing how they redesigned some of the costumes in New 52. I'm not saying necessarily it's a one-to-one. I think that I might have put the statement too strongly in that first video, in hindsight. I probably would have phrased it differently for it now. But I do feel like there is definitely a ripple effect in terms of influence, in terms of how Batman is presented thanks to the Nolan films to some extent. That's not to say that it is copying Nolan. I think that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. But I do feel like you can see influences of Nolan everywhere.
I think here's what I'll point out. Because, like, I don't fully disagree with those examples for, overall. Because, like, the less superpowered villains and origins that could be somewhat inspired by Nolan. Like, sure, I can give you that. I think what I would point out is, I feel like there's nothing that uniquely that Nolan's movies did for Batman that you can't say for other just superhero movies, to their characters. Because, during the time of, like, the early 2000s, the Green Goblin was more emphasized in Spider-Man comics and media because the Goblin was in the 2002 movie. Doc Ock got an entire book called Dr. Octopus Year One, and the visual design looks more like Alfred Molina's version of the character during the events of Spider-Man 2 and stuff like that. And like seeing like how the Dark Knight, because the whole premise is like the Dark Knight's kind of negatively affecting modern Batman. A lot of this stuff doesn't really affect the overall like package, because Arkham Origins, like, narratively, character-wise, world-building-wise, power scaling-wise even, like, it's very different from Nolan. Like, he's boxing a massive crocodile monster that, like, throws explosive barrels, and he, like, he breaks his teeth, and he's like, you want teeth? I want answers. That's not Nolan. That's way more, like, crazy. Or he's fighting a guy in a jetpack, and then after he beats him, he's just like, you need a new hobby.
And I think that that's fair too, but I think that like the tricky thing is, I think, is when in this discussion we kind of go for the all in or all out, right? We look for it to be, if we say it's inspired by Nolan, we look for it to be purely Nolan, which is never going to happen. That's not what I was saying. That's
I think I want to give you. I think I just want to give you a follow-up question.
Yeah, go for it.
How does the Dark Knight trilogy negatively affect Batman media during the time of those movies and afterwards? Because I think we should discuss how it negatively affects. Because we can agree it's going to affect it. They're popular movies, but I think we should discuss what meaningfully hurts it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, so I think the big thing is I think it did reduce the interest in the more fantastical elements of Batman. And we're seeing that throughout most adaptations of it, even like the more imaginative adaptations recently, like even like the recent Batman Cape Crusader, even, for an example.
Yeah, I was about to bring that one up because like that one, he literally fights a ghost.
Exactly, he fights a ghost, but like that's like the exception that proves the rule a little bit. Like there's also the witchcraft episode too. That one actually pushes
like a vampire.
More, vampire witchcraft thing. Clayface is more fantastical. That's pushing against the status quo that's been kind of established up until now, though, with a lot of adaptations. Like you look at the Snyder universe. That universe is fantastical, but Batman never interacts with anything too fantastical, with the exception of Doomsday and I guess the parademons. But that's not Batman's world. That's outside Batman's world coming into it.
I actually want to point out something. I'm pretty sure like there are more fantastical elements in the movies. Keep in mind, we never had a dedicated movie about Batman specifically, but I do know there's a line in Justice League where Alfred literally does mention that he fights a guy who has like exploding penguins that come out. Yeah, that's pretty silly. Yeah, that sounds more like silly, fantastical Batman there.
That is just like a throwaway line, though.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, but we don't have that much to work off of because we don't have a dedicated movie based off specifically Batman. And if we want to go with the one they were planning, he was gonna fight a a super soldier.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the problem is we got Suicide Squad, right? We got a very subdued Killer Croc. He is just a guy with a skin condition in that. Like, he doesn't even seem particularly powerful.
Is that true? Because I'm pretty sure like he has
his whole role. He's just like good at swimming. Like that's literally it. He's just really good at swimming. Like he goes to like plant one of the bombs, I think.
Can he like survive underwater longer than like normal humans could in that movie? And he physically overpowers a few of the guards. Like he's stronger than like normal guys.
But that's not like Killer Croc strength. But it's not like I don't know. It's not like one of the more. It's not as he doesn't have any the clear demonstration of like super strength though. Like he just seems like he's a strong guy, which is fine. Killer Croc doesn't have to be like extremely powerful, but like he should be like he should be substantially stronger than your average person. And
you could say his build should be larger.
Yeah,
I mean, like 100%. I'm pretty sure in the intro they do show he is able to physically overpower trained men with like one arm. Like I think that is like still superhumanly strong.
That's strong, but it's the problem is we're in a universe where like there's overt demonstrations of power.
He also rips apart. I'm pretty sure he rips apart those like enemy types.
But so is probably Quinn.
Like infected by him.
But
oh shit, hold up.
It's so vaguely defined, and we never see like a real demonstration of how powerful he really is. You know what I mean? Like, you could make the argument it's just peak human condition.
I think what I'll just simply point out is like we don't really have enough because that universe ended so quickly. But like there are still hints that it's still more fantastical than Nolan's already, because there's still a crocodile guy who swims around underwater and stuff. It's still like comic booky.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like one of those things where you're like, the Snyder universe never really got to explore Batman on his own, and you know what? Yeah. It's a good and a bad thing. I think we got the Batman out of it, which is really good. But even the Batman is very grounded, also. It's a lot more atmospheric than Nolan's movies are, but it is still grounded in a very firm reality.
Yeah, they got to name him Oscobb.
Can't call him Oswald Cobblepot. It's be Oscobb. Exactly.
That one makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, what is so unrealistic about Oswald Cobblepot?
It's not that weird of a name.
I don't know, Matt. This is your go. This is your go. You got to defend it, bro. It's totally grounded.
No. I defend Batman, and I defend everything to do with the Batman. I won't defend.
But you got to admit, he would get his ass kicked from Clayface in that universe, right?
It depends on how you write it.
Well, have you read Batman Shaman?
Oh my god!
Oh shit!
I hate you people.
Never mind. I could see. I forgot about Batman Shaman.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
We're just teasing that, Nick.
And even like the stuff like Lego Batman, for example, is still in conversation with the Nolan films. But again, that's a conversation with every Batman adaptation. Oh yeah. Oh, it's absolutely in conversation with the Nolan films.
No, yeah, it references it, but I will say like that one is fantastical. Like he fights a lot of crazier. A lot of the crazy villains.
Right, but wait.
Right, but I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it. Here's the thing. What I said before was that these films are either drawing from Nolan or directly opposing Nolan. This is the directly opposing example, where it's like it sees what Nolan's doing and goes in the opposite direction to kind of rectify. And again, that still shows Nolan's dominant conversation, because even if you are pushing against Nolan, that's still acknowledging Nolan is the big dominating influence over all this stuff. Because a direct push against it illustrates you're still inspired what Nolan did by doing the opposite of what he did, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
any of us
yeah.
disagree with that.
I guess affected by it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Which is where
I don't
it's
think any
where it
of
gets
us.
complicated.
I
Yeah.
don't think any of us disagree with that. I think we got more so. I think it's more so interesting if you focus on what it does negatively to impact it. And what I
Yeah.
want to say about the fantastical elements is, I understand where you're coming from if we're talking about live action movies, because like until maybe DCU Batman, we still don't have a fantastical Batman. The Batman's getting his butt kicked from Clayface, that's for sure.
Oh God, yeah, no.
Jokes aside,
I am hyped for Clayface. I fucking love horror, and to know that freaking
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan involved, that right there, like I've loved Mike Flanagan since freaking what the Mirror movie. Freaking blank on. Of course, my brain stops functioning.
You like his Netflix shows?
when I hear the
If
fate
we
of the
date that,
universe,
it's,
my brain
Oculus?
dies.
Was that it? It's called Oculus. Was that the movie? Was that it? Yeah, Oculus. That's what it was. Yeah, with Karen Gillan. Fantastic movie. Really effective. It's one of the early films, and it's like a really good. Got Karen Gillan, Kitty Sackhoff's in it. It's a good movie, but it's like he's so great with horror. Freaking love it. So I'm excited with him working on it to some degree.
Yeah, I really like his Netflix shows.
Oh
even though Hill House has like a poopy ending, I don't like the Hill House ending. Fly Man is great. Midnight Mass is great too.
Oh yeah. Wasn't as big on the other one he did. The mid.
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that one. I think I know. With Mark Hamill, right?
Yeah. It was like based on the little book series. I thought it was all right. I thought it was okay.
I still like to check it out. I really like his work. He's a great writer.
It's worth watching.
I think
I'm excited for his Carrie series. Oh, Gerald's Game. Yeah, that was fantastic. Unfilmable book. Great adaptation. So I'm excited for that. Still wish Guillermo del Toro could make it Justly Dark, but we can do.
Is YouTube dying again? Let me check.
It's been on and off. YouTube's good.
It's getting a little bit better now.
SK fixed it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, SK.
Totally. Yeah. I definitely didn't spare us the damage of YouTube.
There you go. But we are getting a little late on time, so I do want to wrap things up a little bit.
Oh, good.
I was glad. A little bit.
Okay.
I think just finishing up what I wanted to say about the fantastical stuff is like I think when it comes to live action movies, I understand and agree a lot more. But I think like if you look at the overall package, I just kind of fundamentally don't agree, because usually like most animated projects with Batman does touch upon the fantastical elements to this day. Mm-hmm. And I would say the same thing for the video games. Like I get for example, I will stand by the Arkham games are very fantastical, especially the first two. Even Arkham Knight, I would argue so, just in a different light. Like they're very, very exaggerated from like reality. And
and
I would say the same.
One.
Yeah, I would say the same for Cape Crusader. Like I'll just point it out. I'll keep pointing this out. He fought a ghost. That's wacky as heck compared to like most stuff that we used to get.
I do feel like with Cape Crusader, the fact that it feels like the exception, I think, does prove the rule. The fact it's so jarring that he fights a ghost, I think, kind of proves we've been starved of the supernatural in terms of the media around Batman outside the comics. I feel like that is a sign that we maybe haven't had enough of this until now. We've been kind of like starved of it slightly.
I think what I would say about that is like I think just overall with Batman, that's always going to be out of his element when he's fighting something like a ghost. It's kind of like if Spider-Man was on like there's a show where he goes to Asgard. It's like, yeah, we're going to treat that as an exception because it's not common even in his own comics.
Yeah, no, I hear you there.
I guess another question.
But yeah, I think what I would just. Yeah, just quickly. I think overall what I would point out about the fantastical stuff, because I hear this a lot with Batman media, is besides live action, I think there's no real issue with how he's handled when it comes to the fantastical stuff. Like, if you just play his games, if you consume like his animated projects that come out, the animated movies to this day, they're gonna do fantastical stuff. Like, they're gonna do an adaptation of Nightfall, and I'm assuming he's gonna deal with like Mad Hatter like doing his crazy stuff during that story. Firefly's gonna fly around and burn his like childhood trauma based like areas or places he wanted to be when he was a kid. He's gonna deal with like Azaz who cuts himself up, and right there, like I think I'm just simply I'm just gonna point out, if it's not the live action Batman movies, I do think Batman is perfectly fine when it comes to how they handle the fantastical elements. Like, Killer Croc is a very popular villain in the Batman, sphere to this day, and he's a crocodile monster.
I would just say I feel like the live action is underserved. I think it's the best way of putting it. I agree with live action. I feel the live action is underserved, and I think negatively affected by that overarching influence from Nolan. That has left filmmakers, I think, a little afraid to experiment. Whereas with games and animation, there is a little more wiggle room because there's less of the film studio oversight saying gotta do what Nolan did because it made money, that whole mentality. I think you're seeing
the only exception for games I could even give is Arkham Shadow, because I think that game is trying to feel like a Pattinson movie.
Yeah,
I think they were doing that.
And I feel like Pattinson's movie is now becoming the bigger language of which Batman is spoken through. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
Atmosphere.
It feels like almost everything is going to be a detective story with Batman now. And
I
prefer that.
Well, actually,
definitely,
I would argue it's even inspired Absolute Batman, which is something I wanted to say like an hour or two ago. Just like his personality, he's a bit more brooding. Yeah, but he still retains like majority of the moral compass and ethics of a comic like prime Earth or prime continuity Batman. But I think it's, and obviously he's younger as well. Absolute Batman, I think is like literally 20, I think, or like 21 or something. He's like born in 2004, which is crazy. But that's
Gen Z Batman. That's a strange one.
Yeah, it's my Batman.
That's a strange thought. God, I'm older than Batman. This is terrifying. Anyway, but yeah, no, I hear you on that one. And I think it is the cycle of inspiration. And I think also we see the influence of this the more in hindsight, right? We kind of see how each element of the story has influenced everything that follows a little more, a couple years off, right? Like, when it's happening, we don't see all the influence as much. But like a few years back, we take a step back and have a more holistic look at like a span of a few years and go, okay, this is the era in which this was influential. Much like how the era of the 90s, Tim Burton's Batman influenced everything to some degree or another, I think.
Yeah, even the comics, they gave him like an all-black suit.
Exactly. Even the music that we associate with Batman from the 90s cartoon onward, it's like, that's Tim Burton. That's heavily inspired by Tim Burton. But again, it all depends, I think,
I think ultimately what this comes down to is, I think it's fine for Batman media and, superhero media in general to be inspired by the, more successful movies out there, but I think they just need to handle it tastefully. Because, Arkham Shadow, that's very much inspired by like the Matt Reeves verse, but they handle it tastefully. It still is an Arkham game. It feels like an Arkham game in a lot of elements. It respects its lore, and it does like get like the character of Batman, and like they do it. And what I like about that game is that it's still a true Arkham game, but it takes like inspiration from how to write a Batman story from like a Reeves verse Batman movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So they kind of blend it.
I think also a key element also is consider, are you taking influence from something, or is it dominating something? Are we drawing from it, or is it becoming is it just conforming to it? And I think with Arkham, it's drawing from it. It's not completely buckling under the weight of the big popular Batman thing. In both cases, really, it's drawing, it's reflecting what the current zeitgeist is, but it also isn't losing its identity in the process. Arkham's good with that. I would not say Joker or the Snyderverse did it as gracefully as that. is the best way of putting it. I think, well, then again, most Batman stuff aren't as good as the Arkhamverse anyway, but those are also the biggest versions of Batman that we got in terms of eyeballs on the product. Aside from, of course, Arkhamverse. So that's my perspective on that one. hopefully that was coherent.
Telltale's Batman's another good example. I think Telltale's Batman did a great job with it.
That one I was thinking about.
Batman, it somewhat tries to be Nolan in a way, because it is it's more grounded than the literal comics, but they still they let more cracks slip in. It's like, oh yeah, Mr. Freeze can't have a freeze gun, but he has like a cold touch, right? He has this metal cold hand. It's like, that's a cool idea. I like how they handle that.
Definitely, and that also definitely shows reflections of Nolan. I completely forgot about Telltale. Actually, I feel like that Batman game always slips my mind for whatever reason. But yeah, you're right. It does feel more grounded.
I think ultimately, though, I think the thing is, the reason I don't side with this, like how it negatively affects Batman, is they take those elements. They they take inspiration from the elements of the Nolan trilogy, but they turn it into their own special thing. Because when you play Telltale, you're not going to go, oh, this is Nolan Batman. No, this feels like Telltale's Batman. But, like, you see the inspiration from, like, other Batman stuff, especially those movies, but they do it in a way that's, like, so fun and different. It's like, we're not going to be super duper crazy. But, like I said, they let the crack slip a little more. Mr. Freeze is neat. It's like, he doesn't have a freeze gun, but, he has, like, this cold touch. Like, that's a fun new idea for his ability set, for example.
Here's the thing: it is fun, but it does kind of feel like it is avoiding the more fantastical elements, even though that does make it unique in its own right. And I don't disagree with you on that one. You can't help but feel you're kind of shifting the bar a little bit, gradually away from what it was to make it feel more grounded and plausible. And, I guess it's a real mileage will vary one. For me, I'm okay with it with Telltale when experiencing the Telltale game. But it's when stepping back from it and looking at the whole holistic message, I see it as part of a larger situation. So the question becomes, are we looking at it on a case-by-case basis where we can embrace the creativity of individual choice, or are we looking at it holistically from the top down at everything at once and going, oh, it's part of a trend that keeps this from happening? Because your perspective will shift depending on how you look at it, I think. In the case-by-case basis, usually it works, but when you look at it as part of the bigger trend, that's where I think my frustration comes in, if that makes sense.
I think the way that I look at it is overall, I think the good just does outweigh the bad. Because I think I think like some of the best stories can be stories that were inspired by other things, and they take elements of that, but they twist it into their own like special piece of art. And I think like something like Telltale can definitely do that. The elements you can say that are even in Arkham, like Origins, I think does that very tastefully. Arkham Shadow's a great example. I think that stuff is like a lot more valuable than the negatives I've seen, because the main negatives I can point out is Scarecrow's design in the New 52 is boring. He's a dude with like the face mask, because
a sack.
Yeah.
Or Bane. He's literally just Rise's Bane, but he has the right mask.
Basically, yeah.
Have you seen that?
It sucks. That's not. I agree.
That stuff definitely sucks, but at the same time, it's like I think like the bigger stuff usually is like a net positive, because I think like most people, especially the people that are good at creating their own Batman stories, are smart enough to understand they should take elements for inspiration, but they shouldn't just take the whole, and that's what we see usually. Like Telltale definitely is a good example of that. I wouldn't say Snyder did that very well. I think he did that badly.
Yeah, I think most of us could agree Snyder did a lot that wasn't great.
Yes.
We're all on the same page there. But but no, I hear you on that one. And again, it's mileage and vary thing. That's a very subjective thing. And I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think, for me, I look at the holistic top-down perspective and I see trends I find I see trends I don't personally love with where the character went. But I see those trends going kind of shifting now. So it's like, I can't really complain about that when we're moving on to things that I personally want to see more of myself, just as a fan. that we just didn't at all because of the influence and shadow Nolan had over the franchise. So it's one of those things where, like, were the creations bad? Were they all non-fantastical? No, by no means. A lot of them were great. But I do think that as we move further away from Nolan, we'll be getting stuff that I personally want to see more of. And that's why I present my opinion in that front, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Like I think nowadays it's gonna be more Reeves, and we're gonna get a lot more Batman detective stuff. But I'm gonna be fair here. Eventually, I think people are gonna get sick of it. I think eventually they're gonna go, oh, another Batman detective story. Can we not have a fun crime thriller? Remember The Dark Knight? We used to have fun crime thrillers. Come on.
Well, that's the cycle of everything. You know? I mean, that's the cycle of all stories. Eventually, people want to see something different. That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want to start wrapping things up just because I got to check on my son.
Valid.
I don't want to pull that card. I'm like, I should probably check my son. I do want to let some super chats play real quick, and then we'll have some
Backseater say your son doesn't exist?
Yeah, but he still says that. He was on some fucking social media thing saying that. I'm like, dude, come on, chill the fuck out.
Show me your son right now, or I will find you.
He's so creepy, man. He's so fucking creepy. Anyway, I'm gonna play.
He's the greatest League Entertainment villain.
He's a Batman villain.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the jets play real quick. Let's have a few play real fast. Not too many here, I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get some water.
That's the Lauren Faust one, right? I like that. That was all right. Nah. Yeah, I didn't love that. That was underwhelming. I didn't like how they handled the Selena stuff. It feels like fan fiction, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I freaking not enjoy that movie. King Digital is a wizard. There you go. You and Baichi can get that Miraculous Ladybug crossover if you really want to, but sure, go for it. Okay, so we're gonna wrap things up right now. Any final thoughts that we can say quickly in 10 words or less before we wrap?
Well, I got a genuine question just out of curiosity because we're on the topic of Batman movies. What are your thoughts on the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher movies? Okay,
so that's complicated, but I'll give you a quick version of it. I do want to wrap things up, but I'll give you a quick version. I generally like them quite a bit. Even the Schumacher ones. Agreed. I think they are definitely a product of their time in terms of what people could put on a movie for Batman. I think the first Batman has a really good balance between like Batman being this mysterious figure in the shadows. I like how Batman's nature is a mystery in that one. How we're kind of revealed who Batman is over the course of the story. I feel like we know the Batman story so intimately now. They would never do that. But I like how they present Batman himself as the mystery in that film. Batman Returns I like a lot, but it has a lot of problems. I think I have a lot of issues with how Batman kills in all these films. That's I have an issue with. Though there is kind of a meta-narrative throughout if you really force it to exist about the kill rule I've discussed in videos. Batman Forever I like quite a bit. That was like a good college put it on at 11 p.m. kind of movie, you know what I mean? Where it's like you get a bunch of guys in the dorm room and like, what do you want to watch a movie? Like, let's watch Batman Forever. Why not? Like, that's a fun one. Get a few beverages, you're good to go. Yeah. Batman and Robin is entertaining as a so bad it's entertaining movie. I don't want to say so bad it's good, but it is. It's not a good movie, but it is fascinating. The creative decisions in that movie are fascinating in a way that most bad movies today just aren't. Because the difference between a bad movie that's boring and a bad movie that is baffling. and Batman and Robin is baffling. Like the choices made creatively are like, what were they thinking? But also, I'm so glad they thought it because there's nothing quite like this bizarre mess of a film. Even
It's
if
pure
it's
fun.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not good, but you're never bored. Like I've seen boring bad. That sucks. This is not that. It's bizarre bad, which is the best kind of bad. Like
Yeah, there's
rather
rage-inducing bad, boring bad, and then there's just bad, but it's so much fun.
Oh yeah, no. For me, this is up there with like movies like Troll 2 or The Room. Like they're baffling, but they're so entertaining. You know what I mean? I would say Catwoman is bad but boring. That's a great example of a terrible, boring movie. This is not that. Or Elektra, that's another example of that. But this is not that.
But Daredevil is
like
Daredevil's so funny.
Daredevil's entertaining. I think actually I will go to bat for the director's cut of Daredevil. That one's
same. Okay.
It's decent. It's not,
yes,
not amazing.
I agree. There's a lot of good concepts in it.
Yeah, it's not bad. And they reframe a few scenes that are really bad in the theatrical version. It was like, oh, actually that works. Mm-hmm. With the courtroom drama really completes that film. They rearrange a few scenes, change how some scenes end. It works better, I think. It's like it's not like Donner's Superman cut good, but it's good. I'll go to bat for that movie. I have to rewatch to remember all the details of it, but I remember loving it when I saw it last. So there you go.
A lot of that movie is literally just me and SK trying to kill Daredevil. That's that movie.
Yeah, it's us trying to kill Batnick.
Yeah, you literally Batnick is Daredevil. That's literally the movie. It's so funny. I love that movie.
It's such a fun one. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up now. I think. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube, SK.
The site you crashed?
Yeah, the site I crashed. Why did I flood the site?
Yeah, they can't find you. You crashed the website.
Exactly.
Why did Edward flood the site?
Yeah,
that's the next EFAP criticism.
God, there you go.
They might criticize you for that one, man. Man, it's convenient that Batnick likes Batman. That's a contrivance.
And where can I find you?
I run a YouTube channel called League Entertainment where me and my friend Skids make videos mainly on stuff like Star Wars, superhero media, video game stuff. Currently, there's a Fallout video coming out for the second season that's gonna be broken down.
Yep.
Okay,
Batnick, your turn.
Yes. It's your turn.
I don't really do like content
He has a
anymore.
critique on THUMPCAST Batman.
Shut up! Oh my god. I mean, I do have a channel. It's literally just my name. It's just Batnick. You can add me on Discord. Like I'm in school, so I don't really like make YouTube videos. I'm in like college, so don't have a lot of time.
We're still waiting for part 3.
It's never happening.
So you have the chance to have the college dorm party where you all watch Batman and Robin at 11 a.m.
Yeah, I don't live in a dorm anymore. Now I live in an apartment, but yeah, I just have to find people to watch Batman and Robin with me.
Well, actually, it's better because you can bring stuff in that you couldn't have it in a dorm.
Yes, absolutely. Like candles.
Yeah, exactly. Like like botanical improvements. That too,
Yeah, but just Batnick on anything. Usually capital B, capital N, sometimes not, but I'm pretty easy to find, I think.
No, true. And I want to thank all of you for joining me on this one. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching too, but I had a fun time talking all the same.
Absolutely.
Very much enjoyed the discussion. I noticed a lot of people in chat were enjoying it as well.
Which is good.
Very nice change of pace from what we usually have to deal with on Disagreement Day.
No,
I just want to say, really grateful that I got to talk about Batman comics. I don't typically get to. So thank you, Anthony. Well, I guess thank you, SK too, because this isn't a typical Disagreement Day or THUMPCAST, but that was very satisfying for me.
We need more of these THUMPCASTs in general. So.
Absolutely.
Well, I think the trick is, and this is something I've found, and I'll close off after this. I found it's very satisfying to talk to people who actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes you get conversations with people like, okay, yeah, or they'll say something that's obviously wrong, and they're like, okay, buddy, and you don't know everything in the world. Obviously, not everyone knows everything, but like, it's good to have someone who's enough of a background about it to hold the conversation. So I'm going off of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the first. That was the first Phantom Menace debate, and just during that disagreement day, remember SK? It was some guy coming in just going, "Well, I don't disagree, it's bad, but I would say it's not as bad as The Last Jedi or what was it, Rise of Skywalker." And then like I was like, "Oh my god, why are you here?" I'm not saying that either. Did you not read the title? So I just trolled him and just went, "No, I think it's worse than The Rise of Skywalker. Phantom Menace is the worst Star Wars movie."
Well, that's why I just open mic.
I just said stupid stuff.
Well, that's why I don't do open mic streams. As much as my fans are brilliant and know more than I do at some topics, that you never know. You just never know who's going to answer the call. That's
sometimes
you could
it's
get a
just
genius,
so
you can get like an asshole. Yeah,
or like they're not even like bad. They're like nice, but they just come in and they're like, they got nothing, and I'm like, why are you
They don't have a disagreement.
Yeah.
It's like, this is for
everyone watching right now,
frustrating.
we're not talking about you. You're brilliant and amazing and intelligent. We're talking about the other guy who left a while ago. If you stop watching 5 minutes in, you're the ones we're talking about.
Exactly. Do not
There you go.
unsubscribe.
No. But thank you all the same for everyone watching. This Friday, we're going to have a very interesting little video. It's going to be kind of a stopgap. I have a highlight for my charity stream over in December. A little fun little thing I've planned for you. It's a very simple but fun little project. But the week after that's where it gets interesting. Because that's when we're talking about Shadow of the Conqueror. If you ever read that book, you know I'm in hell for having read that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm scripting it now, and it's truly something special. But we'll cross that bridge when I see it. I'm sure I'll get Chad's fucking next 4-hour response to my video again. But we'll see how that goes. But I am going to abruptly hit the end button for this stream. If you haven't already, subscribed to all channels on here, or just add on Discord.
Oh yeah.
Farewell. All right, take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Take care. Have a good one.
See you guys later.
Okay,
Bye.
I stopped the stream, so all good.
Alrighty.
Nice.
But thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. I'm
Sure.
sorry I started like losing energy